than you think it is, sir. It is a very interesting story.
All right, fine. I won't tell the rest of it right now.
Right now, but later.
Soon.
Quite soon.
I will say this: I started
When will Ben
rewatching
be now? Soon.
Right now.
right now.
Just a.
I will ask one question to Raina. No, it's not a no question. I'm actually genuinely curious of what your favorite
no
episode
question,
was.
Snowplane. What's
up?
I said I am genuinely curious as to what your favorite episode of the Orville is.
Ooh. That's really a tough one. It's weird because I watched it straight through.
I'll tell you which one springs to mind immediately.
Go for it, Carlos.
That is, I forget the title, but it's the one where, what's his name? The navigator goes into their holodeck and
lasting impression.
Yeah, I really like that one.
As well.
I thought it was really original. I mean, even though the holodeck thing is totally a Star Trek thing, but their approach was original. The acting was good. It
was a beautiful story.
It was a beautiful story. I really liked it.
And
I don't hate everything about the Orville, Greg.
I'm looking up the name of the one that's coming to mind.
I
put into the chat my headline, Florida. Well, in this case, Australia man story.
Oh no! The tagline, right? Junkie government.
No, I love it. Australian Olympic furry madness. That's that's like 4 amazing words all in one sentence.
Let's take a moment to Google.
For Carlos, it's only missing one word: Lane.
Let's take a moment to Google this wonderful thing.
That's actually pretty good art, though.
That is actually really good.
That
art.
is the clearest picture I've seen of it yet.
Yeah,
take it down because if you show that, I'm trying to save it for the show.
Save it for the show.
We're all so excited. We've got some high highs and some low lows for this one.
Can I go first?
Everywhere in between.
You can go second, Greg.
You go last.
My favorite episode actually was Krill. I really like that episode a lot.
That one is is that the one where Mercer?
No, it's where Ed and Gordon go and infiltrate that Krill ship, and they realize that fans are on board.
That actually was pretty good.
It's a really fucking good episode.
I have mixed feelings on that one, but that's mainly because I have absolutely never cared for Seth and how he writes his critical take on religion. It's always the same.
Now, I will say this, as someone who's actually is transgendered, the way they actually touched that topic was very tasteful. It was very appropriate, and I really liked how they went about it.
I think Seth, about the third episode?
Mm-hmm. Seth really handled that really well. I was nervous when the episode started.
Which episode?
The third episode.
Oh, the baby.
Yeah, the baby.
I really like that one a lot.
That one was one of his better take on a serious topic. I got to give credit for that one.
Hey, Ross, I'm going to actually host you on my
What's your favorite Orville episode?
Identities 1 and 2.
Is that the
rehash of basically Best of Both Worlds and Scorpion from Voyager and TNG?
Pretty much.
That one I was passe on, I guess. It was just one of those like it's fun. My biggest really if I'm gonna say one thing I wish it would do better was that one of that YouTuber I had mentioned, he brought this to mind, and it has always stuck with me ever since. That as great as the visual effects are for this show, the ship design really doesn't make it stand out in those episodes. It's just the ships are way too similar. Whereas in something like Star Trek, you have different classes, you have different
I see your point on that one. For Orville, for me, I caught that. Okay, all the ships are kind of similar design, but at the same time, they're on an exploratory vessel. Then of course they have different classes like Star Trek. You have the frigates, they have the explorers, they have the battleships. I get they're all pretty generalized in design. You have the 2-engine one, then you have the 3.
But guys, it's not a federation. It's a
I'm not saying
union.
it needs.
It's
Obviously,
a union.
all the ships are going to be the same equally.
Oh, jeez.
I'm also kind of with Ross in that, like, I just wish that they did something a bit more than just the typical bad robots trope in that. But that's just.
Well, I like what the way I like the way I like they handled Isaac though is his relationship with Claire. That one episode where he basically is feeling emotions, like he makes a mistake, it's like, oh, and basically admits I'm better with you. So it's like that was like, huh?
I really do need to rewatch some of these episodes because, like, again, I don't hate the Orville. I don't even dislike it. I can be very critical of it, yes. But, I mean, when it hits its target, it hits its target.
Again,
like,
I think we should save this for the show, you guys. We have a whole
No,
topic.
do we
Yeah.
have an Orville topic?
I had
don't
to take it out. I had to
Oh,
take it out
oh.
because
that's
we're
too
going
bad.
to spend a lot of time on Star Trek.
I say we jump on Bad Batch right away because I don't think it's going to take us long.
We're
for that.
leading
That's
with
how
Bad Batch.
Ross,
Followed by that is both Star Trek
how about
trailers.
if we put it back in, but only go there if we have time?
If we have time, but with all the stuff we're talking about, especially once we get to the Blizzard lawsuit, that's
Yeah,
going
I was
to
just
be.
trying to get as much as
I
we
have a
done
lot to
can,
say
like
now.
in the. I say
I
get as
mean-
much as we can start right away and then finish with the Blizzard lawsuit.
I'm not sure if we're even going to get to the Games Workshop stuff with everything, with the Bad Batch review, both Star
That's
Trek,
why I
or
said
all three Star Trek
earlier.
discussions, the Dune trailer react, which I was supposed to do
Yes.
with your girlfriend, Greg.
No, I
This
she-
is why I
she loves the
suggested
movie.
we put the Bad Batch until next week when there's not as many topics. And we
We
just
don't-
review
we
two
don't
episodes
know.
next week.
We don't know what the topics are going to be next week.
Well, there's not going to be multiple Star Trek trailers. And,
That you know of.
lawsuits.
that you know of. There could be other stuff.
I mean,
We've
you
been
know,
surprised before.
This is true because
You guys
I
are,
will
like,
say this.
To be fair, you guys are trying to get like this Star Trek topic of a fucking cat book cover thing. Like, come on.
Grudge is a queen, goddammit.
I'm not saying she isn't
There
a
you go.
queen. I love Grudge the cat, but do we really need to
Look,
devote an entire
look.
topic to about a book about
Yeah,
her?
Dune trailer, cat.
So here's the thing. The only thing I have to say about the Book of Grudge is that I hope it's like the Book of Eli. That's it.
Hey now, wait, what?
oh, no.
Has anybody seen the Book of Eli?
Yes, I
Yes.
have. That's mean.
Okay, there you go.
Wow.
I will.
Complaint line. No.
I will actually say that the other episode that really stood out to me in the Orville was Command Performance, I think it was called.
Uh-huh.
I really like Alara a lot as a character. So that was like a really, really, really good episode. It was like it was a good episode to show that, okay, this isn't just going to be comedy 24/7. There are going to be some deep moments. It was a good start to show that. and I
Deep
really
is a
liked that.
little bit of a stretch. Let's say
I mean,
it's more serious.
yeah, that's a better word.
Don't let Carlos sway you. Stick to your guns.
Deep is a perfectly acceptable word. You just have to understand that deep for Seth MacFarlane is a lot more shallow than most of us.
How deep will you go?
It's still deep for Seth MacFarlane.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I meant.
How about
Totally.
deeper than you might expect?
For Seth MacFarlane,
For Seth
any
MacFarlane.
deep is more than you expect.
Look, the Orville has more deep in it than the Ted movies. Okay.
How deep can you go?
The first 10 was amazing.
I actually like the first Ted movie.
I did like the first Ted movie also.
I
Ted
like
2.
the first Ted movie, but there's deep. What the
Yeah, but not deep, isn't it? It ain't deep. By the way, Travis.
multiverse?
By the way,
Yes.
Travis, I have to say you've got some exceptionally good light on Lane this week.
I mean, it's just the lamp over there.
He's lit up like golden. Hi,
I
Lane.
swear, Justin only uses his soundboard when I'm talking. I swear, it's a pattern.
So the interesting thing is, Lane is actually glowing, mostly because we found out earlier this week that Lane is a she.
What?
What? She's pregnant.
No.
Oh
What?
God,
Why? Why?
because she's glowing.
Lane
The
is a
glowing.
boy.
Men can glow too. Just for
Lane
I've
is
different
never-
a boy.
reasons.
He is
Yeah,
named
No,
that's a lot
actually-
of makeup.
Lane is a boy. He is named after Lane Staley, the deceased singer from Alice in Chains. Period.
Period.
Actually, you know what? Lane,
Period.
Randall, you'll get this. Randall will get this. Actually, you know what? Lane looks like? Lane looks like it's shiny form.
Yeah, he does.
I'm just saying he looks good. That's all.
You know what? And Lane's got to be excited because his birthday's coming up. The Diamond Pearl remakes are coming out.
Oh, her birthday's coming up. That's awesome.
Actually, we've already.
That is not Lane's pronoun.
Hey, guys! A year ago today, Lower Deck's Second Contact, Trump bans Fortnite, and the Orville is canceled.
Oh yeah.
Well, that aged poorly.
How no shit.
Well, we still have no
That's-
Orville.
That sounded like freaking nerdrotic right there.
Well, that's why it had a question mark.
That's why it had a question mark.
It's clickbait to get people into the show.
Remember
Clickbait-
your journalism
As much as clickbait
title.
sucks, it works.
As
Remember
much
your-
as you hate to use it, it's good if you know how to do it correctly.
And
This
this is,
clickbait, like all of Action Monitor.
this is the
Remember
moment
your
that
journalism proverbs. If it ends with a question, the answer is no.
and this is the moment that Ross revealed that he works for Screen Rant.
I wish. I'd actually be making some money.
Actually, no, Ross. No,
He
dead,
fucked up.
dead serious. Screen Rant's hiring right now for writers and producers.
I barely have time for just this show. I haven't done any side streaming in over
Jesus
a month.
Christ, Doc. Talking about going to the
Because I
dark
just saw
side
the
of
other
the
day that
force.
they put a thing on their YouTube channel. They are hiring for writers and producers.
Producers, hey Carlos, you might want to go and apply.
Now, I
Producing what,
tried
though?
applying to a couple freelance writing positions when I got out of the Navy. Kotaku, I think, was it Kotaku? Yeah, they were looking for reviewers, so I did a couple then, but didn't get any callbacks. But yeah, in between work, wife, and kid, I barely have time for anything. Not to mention my own shitty connection that prevents me from doing most anything else down here.
We gotta source Ross some Ethernet cable.
I'm seriously just waiting for that moment. Like everyone in the podcast simultaneously, Screen Rant sucks. Just one person. I'm not allowed to say that according to my contract.
To weed out who's working for him.
Ross.
Jesus.
All right, are we ready to do this?
Are we live on Twitch? Because I want to.
We are live
We're
on
live everywhere.
Twitch,
And I want to share.
I'm
We're ready to go and waiting on Lane.
out on Facebook, and
I put in the
Someone
chat.
share to the group.
Want to just share this?
let me get it posted on Twitter, and I will be good to go.
Are we gonna? Sorry for Lower Decks and Project. Are we gonna play the trailers and react to them on the show, or just gonna talk about them?
I think we're just going to talk about them, honestly. Whenever we play video on the show, it never comes through quite as
Yeah,
well.
it's the way Streamlabs kind of
Shit, I got a
distorts
trailer to
it.
watch.
But it could mute the audio anyways. And it would just mute the audio and give you a content ID warning since we don't make money from this.
You think it would be fine if, since we don't make money, it'd be fine.
Yeah, well, you know. They
Well,
want that.
I want to give it another look then before
Yeah,
we
me
start.
too.
So
Yeah, go for it.
I'm gonna
still
do that.
sharing links.
Let's,
I have a
let's
link-
do,
I have
let's
a
do
link
our
in the
pre-show
Trello card.
watch. Well,
You've seen one Thomas. You've seen one Tom Paris plate. You've seen them all.
you know what I can do.
Star Trek trailers.
Oh, Travis, my girlfriend would like to know where you got your hat.
Oh, this?
Yeah.
eBay. The story behind this hat is one that dates back to 2019, if I remember correctly. So the Seattle Mariners are my favorite baseball team, and I think it was in August of 2019 they announced a Star Trek night. And I don't think it was anything like super big or anything, but they said that, like, hey, we're gonna have these limited time hats. We're gonna give them all, we're gonna give them the first come first serve for free if you like have a ticket to this game. And I mean, it's out in Seattle. I'm here in Colorado. I couldn't get out there, and so it was one of those like, oh, I hope I can be able to find one on freaking.
And somebody was selling on eBay.
Hey, there you go, Justin. David's got it.
It was a very long time. In fact, like the day after the game happened, I went on eBay. There was nothing. There wasn't anything the next day either. Like I actually tried to get in touch with the Safeco Field. It's not Safeco Field, T-Mobile Park now. The Seattle Mariners organization. I tried to contact them. And I was like, hey, do you guys by chance have any more of those hats left? And they didn't. And so I just had to keep going back to eBay. And the first entry I found, I kid you not, was sold at $500. And I was just like, are you shitting me? Like, I get that this is a rare hat, but I can get another Xbox for that kind of money. Like, no way. Like, I tried to, like, negotiate the price down to, like, $60. I was like, dude, this is, like, double the amount of a typical baseball hat. How about $60? Like, no. 80? No. Like, I tried, and he just would not budge. And, of course, the hat never sold. He tried lowering it down to, like, $250 and everything, and I was like, it's a piece of cloth that you wear on your head. It's not worth that much. I don't care how scarce it is. And the next one I found was actually a bid. And I was actually out at Lake McConaughey at this point in time. Yeah. And service out there is very spotty. And so I was like trying, like, as soon as like I found it, I put a bid on it. I think I bid like $65 at first. And I was hoping that it would stay there. I was thinking, like, most people aren't going to pay more than $60 for a hat. So I went out to Lake McConaughey, and it ended while I was at Lake McConaughey, and I watched it end. But the thing is, there was the service that was all super spotty, and so I was like, I hope I have proper service.
Can we start the show?
Okay. I lost the bid at about, like, I think it sold for like 90 something bucks. And finally, like, I think it was like the fourth or fifth entry I found. Someone was just asking for a buying price of about $80. I'm like, I'm taking it. I don't care anymore.
We really should get started because we got a lot of topics. Can we start, please?
Yes. Let's start.
Go.
All right.
He asked for a story, and I told it.
Well, all right.
All right, so we'll get this going, and
The news is good. The news is bad. Let's get into it. On the Real SuperGeeks. That was a prop bottle. I'm not off the wagon.
No wine was harmed in the production of this episode.
And welcome to tonight's episode of The Real SuperGeeks on this, the 23rd of July, 2021. My name is Ross. Live, love, play, the eyebrows of doom himself. And joining me once again is our lovely array of hosts. Let's take this from the very top. He's the man behind the keyboard. He's the one muting and doing all the crazy sound effects whenever he feels like. Justin, how you doing tonight?
I am doing quite well. It's been a busy week as usual, but yes, doing quite pleasantly good tonight.
She's got the glowing eyes and quite radiant. We got Raina. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good today. I've had a really good week, kind of uneventful, watching a lot of shows. That's about it. But I'm glad to be here with my favorite people in the world.
Awesome. They are the dynamic duo of the show, Travis and Lane. How you guys doing?
It's been a wonderful, wonderful week for the most part. New position at the new job is going swimmingly, despite a rather hectic day today. And anxiety/depression is at a low, which is also good. And vacation in like 6 days, so vibing on.
Outstanding. He's our token old guy, DJ Harumph himself. Carlos, how you doing?
I'm feeling old today. Actually, not that old, but I'm doing well. Thank you. So far, everyone's been having a great week. What the hell is going on, people? Anyway,
It's
by the way, Travis, are you taking Lane with you and Raina on your trip?
Lane, are you coming with us?
No,
You better.
I'm gonna party.
Maybe Lena just needs some time alone.
Lena?
Lena. Oh my God! If you two were a couple, that would be your.
Good night, everybody.
No, Carlos. They are Rutherford and Tandy.
Anyway, I'm great. Looking forward to tonight's topics.
Awesome, thank you. She knows that it's better down where it's wetter, Sun Seol.
Yeah.
How you doing this week, and where the hell are you?
Well, that sounded lewder than
That did
usual.
sound lewd than you.
Yeah.
I'm quoting Disney songs.
Yes, you are quoting Disney songs,
Yes,
and I agree
yes,
with that
but-
Disney song.
But the thing is, I'm the one who logs off her streams by saying wet dreams. So there you go.
Happy birthday, Bree.
Well, I feel so much better after rain dancing around the toilet for a couple of days.
Oh yeah. Ooh.
Yeah, I had food poisoning earlier this week.
Ouch.
Chocolate
Was
rain.
not good.
It's never fun.
Chocolate and white and yellow and just about every
Ooh.
other color you can imagine. It didn't help that I had a sour stomach either, so I was literally burping stomach acid those couple of days as well.
So graphic.
Well, I like to tell the truth. What can I say? As
You had a
for
part soon.
As for where I am this week, I thought I'd take a detour with all of my Baul equipment into the Delta Quadrant, and oops.
You know, it's funny you should say that, son, because I've also taken a detour this week, and I'm in space.
Oh, well, there you go. So you've taken my job for the week, and I'm back to just showing backgrounds.
Oh, we both go explore.
Well,
The
don't
saga
get
continues.
don't get too distracted, Justin. All right. He knows he's on thin ice tonight with Justin's finger on the mute button. Greg, our resident hater, how you doing tonight?
Doing good. I've had a good week myself. Just been here, you know.
Justin, come on.
I'm just getting warmed up. Sorry.
Rewatching
I was being
shows and watching
silly. I
new ones.
wasn't being serious.
So was
Come
I.
on.
Greg knows I love.
Looking forward to tonight's show, definitely.
And as for me, well, it's another week of long commutes and work, so lots of making cables look
And
pretty.
And hopefully, you get some good news this week.
We'll see. Wife and kiddo are great, though, so
Good deal.
that's always good. All right. Intro's complete. Thank you all very much for sharing. Let's roll into the topics, and we're going to lead with our review. Only one review for this week, as we are done with Loki.
Bye, Greg.
We had
There he is.
we
I
had
miss
Rain
Loki.
is gone. Rain is gone.
yeah.
Yeah,
we
oh,
lost
no.
Raina. She'll come back. I'll come back.
Yeah.
We don't have Loki this week. We are Loki less.
Goodbye,
TVA
Loki.
finally got
You're
to
out
him,
of Loki.
and I'm a little sad about that.
I know
But,
it kind of threw me off because Wednesday I was expecting to watch Loki. I'm like, oh wait, Loki's not on. What am I supposed to do with my time? Oh yeah, stream Star Citizen.
But we've still got plenty of Bad Batch left. And episode 13 was this week, and let's talk about it. First,
11.
I want to address something that I see in the chat a lot. I think you guys are spoiled. I really do. When we talk about the Bad Batch in chat, it's like you guys forgot what serialized television is like. Oh, it's another filler episode. It's another filler episode. It's another filler episode. Guys, we're getting, what, 27? Less than
16
that?
episodes.
16 episodes.
Why is it?
They have space to breathe.
Yeah, I think
all
episode was fine.
And just like all of these episodes, they tie together within the last 2 or 3. They're not
They all have a
filler.
reason.
They're not filler.
Hey, I'm not making the complaint, so you're preaching to the choir here, okay?
Great.
All right.
Great.
Mini rant over. Let's get into it. With this episode of The Bad Batch, the crew returns to Ord Mantell to find things a little off. A band of mercenaries are everywhere, and Sid's been ousted from her own bar. She meets them at the ship and tells them that it's time.
Spoiler warning. Spoiler
Just
alert.
throw it up.
Spoiler
Justin,
alert.
come on.
Spoiler alert. When you start throw it up.
Okay. Sid's been ousted from her bar, and a newcomer has taken her place. Sid reconnects with the Bad Batch, and it's time for a heist. They have to go deep underground to Ord Mantell to sneak into her office and steal spice, the drugs that are being smuggled throughout the
Arrakis?
I was trying to fit that in there somewhere, but hey. Anyway, the heist in it. Oh, okay. Hang on. Interrupted by Redeem.
Travis.
Making me hydrate.
We're supposed to make him sing.
I am going to keep having him hydrate because that's
Thank
just
you,
how I roll, okay?
We gotta make him sing.
Well, if
I'm
you
going
watch
to-
the channel, you can redeem points too, and you can activate sing mode for yourself.
There you go, Justin.
Yeah, but it breaks everything else if I try to watch 2 streams at the same time.
Also,
Well, that
Lane
sounds
is
like a personal
totally
problem.
angry that he cannot be seen on screen right now.
Anywho, the heist goes fairly well up until the end when a chase breaks out. And as they are trying to retrieve the spice, the people who... Damn it, Dia. The people who are after the spice arrive, and things go very wrong.
Brilliant.
Imagine
A
when
fight
we all
breaks
get to
out.
be compelled.
They lose the spice in the caverns. Have to go back for it because Omega is hostage. Everything works out, and the guy loses a horn. All right, Raina, tell me what you thought of the episode.
Oh, I loved it. It was so good. I like any episode with Sid in it, and I like how she was like through most of it. Like I was saying earlier, like that's who I want to be in my old age. I want to be angry and pissed off as she is, like just snarky to everyone. I don't know why, but that seems to be my prime goal. I really like that Omega took up for her. I really like that little detail because it kind of carries over from that little bonding moment they had. Was it last episode? It feels so long. The weeks go by, that whole week feels long without Bad Batch, and I've watched a lot of sci-fi. But it was a good episode. I actually like this one a lot. Like, I saw people really complaining online about it, and I was not really sure why. I felt the pacing was fast. There was a lot of action, a lot of not a whole lot of character moments, but the ones that were there were substantial to me. So I really liked it.
We got some interesting insight into Ord Mantell's origins. It was once a mining planet. So they got a small infestation.
Small.
Only minor. Just a little bit.
Just a few bugs. It's fine. It's fine. Call the mobile infantry. They'll clear them right out.
It's just an Imperial brigade. We can get rid of those real quick.
The detail.
All right, Travis, what do you think of the episode?
Oh, I had fun with it. I mean, like, yeah, it's definitely like what this is Gesundheit.
Thank you.
This is definitely one of those episodes that was just a lot of fun to watch. I personally like a good heist every now and then, and this one was very fun. I personally also liked them bringing back, I can't remember what the aliens are called, but they're the guys who are like, they're the spice overlords, basically. They were the guys who are just like, hey, don't fuck with us. We will kill you. We're not messing around here. This is business to us, and it's very serious business. This is our livelihoods. If you double cross us or mess with us, it's like if I remember correctly, they were in the Clone Wars. I think there was an arc with them in there, and so seeing them brought back for this, I thought was actually kind of fun. I had, in terms of like the complaints about the filler or whatnot, like what I like about this is one thing I kind of like about the Bad Batch is that despite them being kind of serialized and having a longer story, they still have, little bits and pieces here and there of the Bad Batch just doing what they're good at. Like these are, good mercenaries and they are good at what they do. And, it's fun to see that without it connecting to something that might be connected in the grander scheme of things. And yeah, not every single one of these episodes is going to be the best thing out there. I remember a few episodes ago, there was just a filler. It was just kind of and there was also one earlier on in the season as well. This one was, it was good. Maybe not great, but I had fun with it. So I'm looking forward to next week.
All right. Thank you, Travis. Greg, what'd you think of the episode?
Oh, I loved Rebels.
It doesn't work this week.
I know. Overall, yeah, I mean, I know I was complaining about filler, but it was an interesting story. And I mean, I obviously getting the spice. I'm like, okay, this isn't Arrakis. But they were pretty menacing. Like with like Omega stays like, if you scare Sid, then you're bad. So, and of course, like they're like Omega stays in the Bad Batch. Like, yeah, no, that's not happening. But we know Wrecker, the biggest guys have the worst fears, and poor Wrecker's just afraid of those bugs.
Right. I love how much personality they give Wrecker. Seriously.
Right. And so I really liked it. I really like how Wrecker has the most personality. I'm not saying Tack and Echo don't, but it's like Wrecker's, something's going to happen, and it's going to be Wrecker. It's like, oh, there's a bunch of bugs. Sid warns them, there's a bunch of bugs. Drops his flashlight. They make it through that part.
He steals the show, that's for sure.
He definitely does steal this episode. Definitely interesting. The way they ended it makes it sound like they'll make a comeback. We have 3 more episodes, so we'll see. But I liked it.
He's the accidental comedian.
Son, I know you're not watching it. And Justin's gone.
I have not watched it yet this week.
Go ahead, son.
I'm taking it all in to give my afterthoughts because they usually seem so poignant.
You do have remarkably good insight.
For not watching a thing. Amazing, isn't it?
Yes, indeed. Justin, what did you think of the episode?
He didn't watch it.
Oh, he didn't? Okay.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed the episode. It was fun to kind of see Sid off balance. She's always someone who's been in command, in control. She knows everything. She knows what's going on. She's quite a foundational figure for the Bad Batch, considering their uneven footing. And sometimes, even though she's not exactly completely trustworthy, it is cool to see them coming to her aid for a change instead of her kind of, being her. And of course, the entire underground chase and everything else. And I do want to note the Pikes. They're the one that spoke, voiced by Liam O'Brien, which was awesome. Critical Role love out in the wild. Any standout moments? What? Yeah, right.
Okay, sorry. Standout moment was Sid showing she cares. Omega's like was gonna stay regardless, but Omega's like voluntarily is like, okay, I'll stay. We got to help Sid, and then Sid at the end of the episode turns around and is like, obviously with a reluctance. At the same time, she goes, "No, we're saving this kid. We're gonna go get the spice." So Sid cares. We know she has that caring side to her.
Travis.
Personally, it just left me. Come back to me.
Right now.
Think of it again.
I'm with Greg. I think it's the moment that Sid is like, look, I got this kid in the mess and I'm going to get her out of it. And I feel like it shows that Sid has like a code of honor of some sort. I mean, I think I really like how the relationship building where it's like Sid is kind of showing Omega like, look, she's not completely a bad person. It's just how the galaxy is run. Survival of the fittest kind of thing. Not completely to that context, but Sid likes to come off as cold-blooded. I mean, no pun intended, but she really is warm, I think, in some capacity. I don't like they keep trying to make her out to be really just cold and distant, but with Omega, I feel like Omega's like everyone's weak spot. She turns the coldest people warm, and I think it's a great character trait, honestly.
Hey, Randy, you know what it is? It's the Force.
I remembered what I was going to say.
You know what, Greg?
All right, let Travis go. Let Travis go.
One of the moments that actually stood out for me, kind of two-parter here, was first when what are the aliens' names? The spice overlords.
Pikes.
When they're first, the what?
Pikes.
The Pikes.
Pikes, thank you. When they are first in the episode, when they are negotiating, quote unquote, with the Bad Batch, saying like their patience has run thin in terms of this deal. When they offer to go get the spice, leave the girl, and the entire squad draws their guns at the Pikes and says that's not going to happen, and they're just like, yes, it is, and Sid's like, yeah, it kind of is going to happen that way. Like, this isn't one of these things you're going to just be able to shoot and walk away from. Like, even if you win this encounter, they will come back for you, and they will eventually win. Like, that kind of thing. I actually really kind of liked that. But it branches over towards a moment towards the end of the episode when Omega tries to, like, she thinks that they are about to kill her friend, she stands up for him and says, look, please don't do this. And, Sid and everyone else is like, just call it a bad deal. Like, he's not going to make this mistake again. And the Pikes say, we don't accept bad deals, and they don't kill him, but they make their message known. They slice off one of his horns and say that their business is concluded. It's a very, like, it's just the way that scene plays out. That these are people you don't want to get on their bad side. And I thought it was like just a really well done moment in that particular scene. Like, you didn't think that, like, it's just really cool to know that they weren't going to kill him, and regardless of whether or not Omega stood out or stood up for him. And I'm very curious to see if the Pikes will make a potential return later on as potential antagonists or whatnot. But I mean, yeah, like, it was a good moment.
Omega's compassion is a real standout trait for her, in addition to everything else. But the fact that she's able to empathize and sympathize with people who were ready to do harm to them in the form of the upstart guy, the horned guy, I can't remember his name.
I can't remember his name either.
Is really something that's really endears the character to you even more.
And what's great is she actually brings like a missing element to that team. Someone made a really good point that I saw in a video where they were like, if you actually think about it, her compassion, like the Bad Batch could have ended up like without her becoming like ruthless mercenaries or something. Because if you think about it, every decision that they made, especially in these last few episodes, like in terms like, now we usually don't help these kinds of people, like even though they really need us to. she's kind of convinced them to go the other way, that there's a benefit to helping people like that.
She's their heart.
Well, it's like Tech is, he's the Tech, and Wrecker is like, strength. Hunter's the leader, and I feel like that she's the compassionate element that you need for that group to really connect with the people they're helping with, because at the end of the day, they're soldiers, but they don't have that connection directly with the people they're helping, and I think that she brings that element to the table that's so needed.
I like that. I like that metaphor a lot.
Yeah.
All right. Final thoughts, Greg.
Well, we're 3
predictions.
episodes away from the season finale, so if this was kind of like a build-up, like it's leading into something, then we're definitely going on the right track, because we know we're gonna get the Crosshair come back. It's just like he's gonna get back in the episode 14. It's gonna be like a 3-episode long thing or 2, but honestly, like everybody else, looking forward to Crosshair coming back. Maybe Cad Bane comes back. Just maybe this is where like everybody's coming after them now for Omega. The Empire's coming after the Bad Batch. Like they're going to try to split them up and see what happens. So I think they're in for a really wild ride the next couple episodes.
And then they're going to blue ball us for the next season.
Travis, final thoughts and predictions?
I mean, I don't have any predictions really. I am looking forward to next week as always. Bad Batch is, one of my personal favorite things coming out of Star Wars universe right now, and still very much enjoying it. Enjoying every Friday. Good stuff.
And Reina.
I had a wild prediction that I think it's going to be Omega that convinces them to go back and try and save Crosshair. She obviously fears Camino because, she was saying, promise me, like that we're not going to go back kind of thing. When Hunter tells her, look, I promise you're not going to have to go back. I really do believe that she's going to be the compassionate element that says, look, we got to save him. And I think it's going to go exactly like you guys said, where they may save him, but I don't think he's going to turn on the Empire. There's just no freaking way.
Rand, I got to ask you, that prediction, was that you or your mom?
That was me. She does not. Yeah, she does not like that match. She's waiting for Marvel What If. I'm just saying. Like,
So am I.
my mom will be continuing in Marvel's What Ifs.
Yeah, I can't wait for that one. That's going to be quite.
I feel a void without Loki.
Well,
I know.
Here's
Remember
some
what I
good
told you
news.
earlier. Like
Bad
this week, I
Batch
completely
runs
forgot
us.
about.
Bad Batch runs us until What If, Lower Decks, all that. So Bad Batch gets us there for the next 3 weeks. Then when Bad Batch ends, we get the other stuff.
That's why, we are all worried about content void because of COVID. And my God, it's been, we've been jam packed with content so much so that we barely have time to fit it in our show.
Well, this is why Ross said you're all spoiled.
There you go.
Well, the only one spoiled is Tom Paris plates. Star Trek ship post
We'll
got
get
spoiled.
there.
All right,
soon,
moving
too
on.
soon. Well, Son, let's hear your thoughts.
So Omega has to die.
No.
No.
Yeah, Omega has to die. So, Greg is confused, and now he needs an explanation. Okay, so the way you guys talk about Omega being able to disarm people reminds me a hell of a lot of the baby vampires from Twilight. The ones where the vampires literally had to ban and kill all the baby vampires because they would literally just be babies as vampires, and so everybody was obsessed with protecting the baby. Yeah, that's literally what I'm getting from you guys about Omega. She just literally disarms the batter batch in the pikes.
Son, you have had quite a few Twilight references. Is there something you'd like to tell us on the podcast?
Son hates Twilight.
Twilight is not as bad as a book series as people say it is. Hot take, I guess.
Carlos.
So you're saying
All
the
right.
books are better than the movies?
Carlos,
Books
come
are
back.
always better than the movies.
Carlos.
But yeah, no. I really think
I have something to say about this.
Oh, God.
shit.
I really think Omega has to die. So there you
Well,
go.
I don't know about Omega, but P.S. spoilers for me. But on the Twilight thing, I agree with Sun. So achievement unlocked. Justin.
Wow.
I agree with Son.
Wow.
I don't think that. I don't think it's as bad as people like to say it is.
Well,
I
all
wasn't
right.
prepared for this.
That,
I was not
and on
prepared
that
for
note,
this.
that'll bring an end to our Bad Batch segment. So let's roll into the biggest news for us this week.
Yes, let's.
Comic-Con at Home has begun, and today the Star Trek animation panel dropped. And Travis, are you okay? And in that panel, we got a bunch of discussion with the cast and crew of Prodigy and Lower Decks, and we got trailers for them both. So first, let's talk about the new kid on the block, literally and figuratively.
Before you do that, Justin, put that graphic back up again. I want to see if it's there. There it is. Okay. So, did anybody see the logo for Star Trek Universe and go, I wonder if it's going to fail just like Stargate did?
No.
Because they've used that logo.
Because it's not.
Because I mean, like, that was the first thing that crossed my mind. Is like, what show is this? And is it going to fail like Stargate?
No.
For those of you who are watching our show and haven't seen the Comic-Con panel that Jerry O'Connell led very well, I highly recommend you go watch it. It's about 45 minutes. It's worth it.
I'll have to keep that in mind.
So, the new kids on the block, literally and figuratively.
They talk about that.
Star Trek Prodigy.
Let them start, folks. Go ahead, Ross.
This was an amazing trailer. It's clearly just a bunch of clips from the first episode, but there was a lot has everyone seen it first off?
Yes, I have.
Yep.
Has anyone not seen it? Okay.
All right.
Folks in the audience, if you have not seen it, definitely watch it. Definitely watch it. If you're watching this later on, pause and then come back. Otherwise, it's some interesting insight from this trailer. We got that the characters are all on some kind of prison or holding planet where they can't leave. They try to make a breakout. They come together a little bit at a time. They find a seemingly intact and very sleek-looking starship that gives me big-time Nova class vibes, but is certainly different. Although it also strikes me as a little Kelvin.
A little bit. It's an NX designation, so whatever it is, it was an experimental design.
8-4.
Oh, I see. Never mind. I thought you were talking. I thought you said.
My eyesight sucks, but just below that bridge dome, I can almost see a name. Can anyone read that?
It's Protostar. It's Protostar.
Yeah, Protostar.
Protostar. I like that. I like that a lot. So this is an experimental ship. This is potentially the first of a class. That's exciting.
I am looking forward to seeing this ship in action.
So, what do you guys think of our first look at these characters? Our first look at the animation? Our first look at the ship? And your hopes and predictions for the show. Let's start with Carlos.
Well, this was exactly what I hoped it was going to be. The kids are the kind of characters I was hoping. The themes were the characters I was hoping, of self-discovery, of exploration, about busting out of whatever thing that's keeping them down. Even though we never even saw Janeway, but we heard her at the very end of the trailer, and it was clear, even just from that one line she spoke, that she's playing a very pivotal role in this story. We got a little bit about each one of the main characters, even the Blob, which really whets the appetite. Yeah.
I'm so happy that thing is just chirping.
Yeah. And we also found out a little bit more specifics about some of the which alien races these kids are. One of them I didn't realize was a Tellarite, which is kind of cool.
Yes.
The other thing that I really liked was finding out that this is happening in the Delta Quadrant.
They have a Medusan.
Yeah, they have a Medusan, an unpaired
Medusan.
Yeah. So anyway, so it's everything I hoped it was going to be and more. It's going in the direction that I hoped a show like this would be going in. It's obviously going to appeal to the age group it's being made for, but I think a lot of adults are going to tune in as well, because the themes are big themes and interesting things to see, tackled. So that's my take on it.
All right, Justin, let's hear from
To
you.
all the people who are worried about the animation quality and looks, from what we saw from the preview images a few months back, suck it. You were wrong. This totally blew away any expectations. I mean, it was almost cinematic the way they did it. I mean, this even blows away. I would think Clone Wars, anything they've been doing. This surpasses it by leaps and bounds. Animation quality is fantastic, and it looks like it's going to be a fun show.
All right, thank you, Justin.
And I don't know if anyone else got a chill when they heard Janeway at the end. But
Yes. Son, what did you think?
So I know I understand where you're getting the Nova vibes from the front of this ship. Was anybody else getting Franklin vibes?
Yes.
From the fucking pylons?
Yes. Put that back up. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah,
I didn't see that one.
It's a blink and you miss it in the trailer. It's in the trailer. You blink and you miss it. Taken off.
I must have blinked because I missed this
that
one.
That bottom image just flipped. It was traveling through Big Crack.
Yeah. That's a landscape. Yeah, that bottom image is a landscape of a portrait shot.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay.
But yeah, no, I was getting massive fucking Franklin vibes from this ship sitting the way it is. Yeah.
And that bridge, that bridge dome is like, oh my god. I mean,
no, not the dome. Just the bridge itself is more like Discovery vibes.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. What do you guys think about the ship? Like, why do you think it's there in the Delta Quadrant? Like, what do you think the backstory is going to be?
Well, how else does anything else from the Alpha Quadrant get to the Delta Quadrants?
The caretaker?
Either that or there was a experimental drive ship that was sent to find Voyager.
No. Okay. So I was making a joke. I wasn't being serious. And the reason I was making a joke is because you left the obvious question be obvious, Ross. How does anything else get to the Delta Quadrant? The caretaker. That's like that was the story for everything that was in the Federation or near the Federation that was in the Delta Quadrant. Even that fucking Klingon ship, that Generation ship.
Yeah, but I don't think that's going to be the case here. And
right?
Here's why.
That sentient missile that B'Elanna programmed.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But yes, I agree with you, Carlos, and I know what you're going to say because it's my point too. This is an after they get back to the Alpha Quadrant ship because it's a hologram of Janeway on the ship.
Yeah, so maybe there's a ship that was.
This seems like it was a prototype ship for a new space travel, or a new type of space travel.
Maybe a slipstream drive or something, because it has it.
Which was something that the Federation's been experimenting with for the longest fucking time.
Mm-hmm. I mean, the NX designation, shows an experimental ship, and it has 76884. Voyager was 74656.
NX designations are independent of Federation designation.
Yep.
So at this point, I really think that this ship was something, obviously, past Janeway and the crew getting back. I think it has something to do with slipstream time travel, something or other, like slipstream travel, and just
gone wrong.
Right.
I think that's why it's crashed.
I think they were probably remotely testing the ship, so they didn't have a crew on it, so anything would go wrong, and there it is.
Yeah,
so
I agree.
All right.
That's my thoughts.
All right. Greg?
Oh Christ!
Buckle up, folks.
Now it's time for the new contrarian.
Hey, Ross.
So, watched it. I first watching the panel first, watching Jerry talk to Kay and Brett and Purnell and all them. It was great to get their backstory and all that. And then watching the trailer, I was cautiously optimistic. It's like for seeing the animated characters just standing there and the still they had been showing, like, okay, it's going to kind of be cheesy animation. I'm glad the trailer was shown because that animation is gorgeous for this show. I'm like I said, cautiously optimistic, looking forward to it. I, of course, like everybody's like, chills when I heard Janeway's voice. I knew it was coming, but you still get chills. The ship lost in the Delta Quadrant. Janeway's there. Sound familiar. I made the joke earlier. Like, does it have a cruising speed of 9.975? But the characters, getting to know the actors with the characters is really great watching the panel. And so the show, one thing they didn't mention, it's not, I don't know if it was the producer or the director that said about watching the show for being aimed at kids, because they like Jerry asked them that, asked Kay, like, how do you feel about the show towards kids? And they said, kids, watch it with your parents. And it's like, not because it was bad, because I feel this target audience of this show is going to be something like not Rugrats kids, but Drake and Josh kids. Yeah. Their target's going to be the 12 to preteen teenager kids. I'm like, that's a good start, because then maybe grab your little brother to come watch with you, grab your parents. And I really think Janeway is going to, of course, grab all the adults. Like, hey, you know what? I grew up watching Voyager, grew up watching DS9. There's Captain Janeway. The new batch of characters, I feel Ella Purnell's character, I forgot her name. I'm looking forward to her development, the way she was talking about her character. And of course,
with the dreadlocks.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, she looks great. She looks cool.
And she talked about how her character will have the most growth, going from basically, she said, badass to caring, nurturing. And when she said caring,
she's B'Elanna Torres.
When she said caring and nurturing, like, she's following Janeway. So there's the Torres 7 of 9 following Janeway's lead. So as far as Star Trek animated shows go, I mean, this one I'm looking forward to, definitely. Seeing what the ship can do, number one. Because, I mean, if the ship got there by remote pilot, like, hey, go to Delta Quadrant, and it crashed, like, okay, you had to be going fast, doing something. And then now we're going to get Janeway back, and she's going to be captain, engineer, something. And I wouldn't be surprised if, I know it's not on the cast list, but I would be kind of shocked if we don't see like Robert Picardo's EMH pop up on the ship, or some EMH. You know, maybe Bashir finally got his EMH going. Who knows?
Oh God!
It'd be funny if it was the Mark
Andy Dick.
Andy Dick.
Yeah.
No, it's got to be Robert Picardo. You guys, like, he's a galactic treasure.
I say
If
for
the
this one,
ECH is there, then Picardo's probably not far behind.
I was going to say for the next one, if Raina doesn't go, I say we'll let Travis go last, just because I know he's going to gush. So we'll let Travis go.
No.
Raina has to say it, Travis.
You guys, they dip into the historical archives, and the new EMH for like the Federation is a recreation of Phlox.
No shit.
That's ancient history by that time.
Exactly.
I wouldn't be upset if they had Carl Urban come in his bones.
Oh wow!
As the EMH?
Different.
Yeah,
I could. Okay,
but it looks like DeForest Kelley.
Because honestly, they have to have some sort of EMH, just because you don't. If it was remote pilot and that was the point, okay, maybe not. But I feel if they have an ECH, then they gotta have an EMH.
I agree with you on that one.
What if there was a holographic crew?
Maybe.
What a better way to send a test ship out? You know, that with high risk, instead of having a normal crew, have a holographic crew.
So,
like, now think about what that means. What that means is that they have holo projectors throughout the ship.
They're gonna have.
Well, I mean, the Prometheus did that too.
Yeah,
Prometheus had that.
As did the one Serena.
And if I may, real quick, the Protostar saucer section, if you will, looks very similar to the Prometheus one. Yeah. The same kind of arrowhead design. So,
and Prometheus was also smaller than Voyager.
No, Prometheus was as big as the Nebula class. You go back and look at it, and Prometheus was pretty big.
Well, you look at the scale wise.
Yeah. Let's hear from Travis.
I wanna hear
And
what
Lane.
Raina has to say first.
And Lane.
I want to hear what Raina
What's
has
that?
to say first.
All right,
He
Raina.
wants-
I'm actually excited about this. I have no idea what the hell you guys are talking about in the intricate details, but I like the art style. And, I'm really wanting to get into this. And it's surprising because, like, I think animation is, like, a good way to connect, like, when you're feeling kind of, like, unsure about stuff. Something, you know what, I hate to say, but it's the perfect training wheels for me. And it looks entertaining and fun. And I feel like this show is kind of genius. Like, you have you have these parents that have watched all these series, and then you got these kids that are going to be the next generation of fans. That it's a nice connection point between them, I think. So I don't know. I told Travis I want to borrow his Paramount account when this comes out because I want to watch it too. Actually, when I was watching the trailer, I was kind of skeptical, but I got really into it. That short amount of time, it looks really interesting.
What
Sorry.
got you into it though?
Honestly, the characters. They feel vastly different. They don't feel like over the top. Like, I don't know if you guys get that. Like, what I had the fear with Omega, like, my God, I hate children characters where they're just all tropey in their different ways. But I like when these characters are getting fun. And maybe because I'm getting older, but I'm getting into these kind of shows where you got like wildly different people. And I think kids in this kind of experience trying to escape a planet have some kind of force behind them. And, overwhelming odds, and they've got to go through this. I think it's an interesting premise for a show. It has an opportunity for good moments. And as someone who's fresh to the series, I kind of like these things, and I'm sort of like, I know this is weird, but I'm kind of gaining an appreciation for Trek through outside stuff, which is odd too. Like, I'm enjoying my slow progress through it, but like Orville and like other things, like even though they're like parodies and a lot of joking things, like I'm finding like I'm appreciating Trek more because it's so much bigger than Trek itself, if that makes any sense. Like, so I'm really excited for it.
I think one of the things that you said, Raina, is really important. Oh, do we have someone left to go?
You walked over Travis.
No. Sorry, sorry, Travis. I want to do one thing where you take over. I feel that whether they're aimed with the kids, just aimed with the whole kids and adult thing. Janeway is the perfect ambassador for that. Picard
That's
was
exactly what I was gonna.
Oh,
Like this is. I said this like weeks ago, I believe. We were talking a bit about the Voyager documentary and Prodigy, and I wrote a very when we were talking about the Voyager documentary when it was still in the kickstarting or Indiegogo campaign. I wrote out a very lengthy thing on the Star Trek group. And I very much talked a bit about my personal experience with it because in a lot of ways Voyager was one of my very, very first Star Trek experiences. And it was, while I have some very tough love for Voyager today because it's, in terms of quality, it doesn't exactly hold up to things like The Next Generation, Deep Space Nine, even Discovery, I think, is a better show. It does still have that very special place in my heart as the first, and in a lot of ways, it Janeway is the face of Voyager. She is the soul of Voyager, and to me, she was my first Star Trek captain. She was there before Kirk. She was there before Picard, before Sisko. And when we I don't remember if it was the same week we talked about it, but when we finally started talking about Janeway and Prodigy, I very much said that in a lot of ways she is the perfect ambassador for kids of the new generation to get introduced to Star Trek. And so again, this is kind of why I wanted to hear Raina go first before me, because hearing her say that this is she doesn't exactly know a lot of the intricate details going into this, but is enthralled by it. Janeway is going to be there for you, Raina, and she is going to be an ambassador for a lot of what is already there. You may not understand a lot of it, but she's going to be there, and I am so excited to see how like they might handle Janeway in this way for not just Reyna, but for anybody who will be watching this. And I'm very enthusiastic about this show. When I first saw it, like I was kind of in a work van, and sitting next to this guy who is not into Star Trek at all. I'll have a better story to tell, I guess, in a little bit. But I mean, like when I'm watching this show, hearing the music, seeing the visuals, seeing the ship, hearing Janeway, I'm just this was my, like, I was very much like, like I was very much just like this. Like,
you needed a tissue afterwards.
No, I didn't need a tissue. I was just kind of very happy. It was a very, very happy experience for me. But one of my personal takeaways that hasn't been mentioned here is that I personally like how it feels. Like, it almost feels like these characters that we are going to be following, it almost feels like they don't know about Starfleet or the Federation. It almost feels like, I don't want to make a direct comparison here, but in the same way, like when Star Wars The Force Awakens came out, there was a thing that Ray said about how it felt like the Skywalkers were just a myth or something.
Yeah.
It almost feels like it could be the same way. Like they don't know about a Starfleet. Because it seems like when they are discovering the ship, they are just entering an entire new world. Like this might as well be Narnia to them. Like they're just like, what is this? Where did this come from? What is this civilization that is exploring new worlds and seeking out new life and trying to like better any civilization that they make contact with? Like, I am so curious as to just how they will like react to this new world that they are discovering.
Well, I'm sorry, go ahead.
And it's just like, I find it kind of ironic because Star Trek is, about boldly exploring and seeking out new life and new civilizations. I think it would be kind of cool to see this, this ragtag group of kids exploring this, like coming into contact with this civilization that we are well familiar with, but learning about it, like kind of it's a reverse scenario almost, and I actually really dig that.
Real quick, Travis, Greg pointed out in our side chat that from the producers, these characters have no idea that Starfleet even exists. So that
I don't follow the chat, so
yeah,
good on you, Greg.
So, that's something that they talked about when they first announced the show.
Yes,
but they have at least 2 Federation races represented there.
Well,
here's the thing, though. You can have 2 Federation races represented and them not know what the hell the Federation is if you spend your entire life in a slave colony, as it appears to be.
Well, if they were part of crews or their families were part of crews that got captured, ships got sent into the Delta Quadrant by the caretaker. I mean, who knows how long the caretaker was taking ships in for the Alpha Quadrant?
So
I mean, it could have been a long time.
Here's my thoughts on the trailer. We are about to get a perspective in Star Trek that we have never gotten before.
Exactly.
Every single show that's come up to this point has been Starfleet and Starfleet adjacent. TNG, TOS, DS9, Voyager, Picard, Discovery, all of them have been, Lower Decks have all been Starfleet crews or Starfleet veterans.
Yep.
These kids, they're ignorant of Starfleet.
Well, that's true. I would argue
Carlos.
I would argue it's still Starfleet adjacent. I mean, they have Janeway.
Yes, but they are not Starfleet. They weren't raised
I'm not
within the
disagreeing with you on
Federation.
that. I'm just
they
saying
don't
that
they don't have the perspective of someone who is raised within the Federation.
Right.
But the key thing that this trailer illustrated was that they have hope.
Mm-hmm.
One of the biggest takeaway lines from the trailer was when the Medusan in the robot suit told the lead kid that you're the only one who still thinks they can escape, that still thinks they're able to. That hope, that drive to improve themselves and to get out of this situation to find something better is intrinsic to Star Trek. And that's what makes me the most excited for the show, aside from how fucking beautiful that ship is.
And also,
I mean,
I was gonna say, rebellions are built on hope. Oh shit, wrong franchise. Okay, this comment here
pointed out in chat that it could be a colony ship, but the ship looks too small for that.
It's
actually
too small. It's the way the ship is designed and all that. I highly doubt it's an evacuation or colony ship, especially with having Janeway.
Why would you have an NX ship be a colony ship? That doesn't make
my
any
guess
sense.
is
bring up the ship again. Let's take a good look at it. Let's talk about the ship itself. We talked a bit about what it reminds us of, but let's actually take a look at some of these details on the ship and kind of speculate at what its function is in a bit more detail. So when I look at it, just the size of it, it looks like a evolution of the Nova class. It's got that arrowhead saucer. It's got a tapered back end. It's like a mini Voyager, like the Nova was.
It also looks smaller than the Nova.
Honestly,
I'm willing to bet
with
she's as big as Voyager, or a little bit bigger.
I don't think so, because if you look, there's a ramp at the bottom there, right in the middle.
And when you're on the bridge doesn't look all that big. When they showed the shot on the bridge, so I don't think that's.
Who else got chills when the music cut in? When they were on the bridge.
I mean,
yes, the traditional Star Trek theme. Yeah.
Honestly,
I hope that's the theme.
Go ahead, Travis.
When I first saw the ship, the first thing that immediately came to mind was the smoothness / like how smooth it looks. It actually kind of reminded me of Voyager after it got the
armor plating.
Plate of armor.
Yeah, the armor plating. I was wondering if maybe might be a bit of a kind of
a design evolution
towards that kind of thing. But
you notice it doesn't have very many windows.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I thought maybe the reason why the windows are very minute is maybe it's only got a couple decks.
Yeah,
I mean, it looks really small.
I guess probably about
small.
6 to 8 decks.
Mm-hmm.
So we're talking just barely bigger than a Defiant.
Yeah, that's why I think it looks.
One thing I didn't notice before. Is that a ramp at the bottom?
Yeah, there's a loading ramp at the bottom.
Yeah,
I was
talking about
than I really thought it was. So
it's for an Argo watch.
And I'm getting ready for that.
I honestly believe that this ship is going to be probably like maybe double the size of the Raven at this point. Seven's parents' ship.
Yeah.
Because that was a small ship and the two parents were able to fly it.
Sure, but if you look at that bridge shot, there are a lot of stations on that bridge.
That's a lot of room, yeah.
Yeah.
God,
it's designed for not a tiny crew, but
wait a minute. We need to get past something here. What you're looking at, that lip right there on the left, that's literally the edge of the bridge. The rest of that is the ship itself.
Sure.
Yeah,
if you look at that, you're seeing at least 3 stations there, which means there's at least that many on the opposite side.
Are you sure?
Well, I mean, bridges are generally symmetrical. So
yeah, but look at the front shot of the ship here, because whenever you close that, look at the way the bridge is. It's almost like a cockpit.
It's a dome.
Oh, yeah. If I may real quick,
it's a very large, transparent dome.
If I may real quick about the ship, I'm willing to bet this is something that we all just kind of glossed over, and it just hit me. How much you want to bet the class of the ship? It's a Protostar class ship. The Defiant was named the Defiant after its class. So every ship of the class is named after a class. So there's the Galaxy, Sovereign. My guess is this is a Protostar class vessel.
Well, I mean, since it has, because it has the NX designation, so that makes total sense. And again, in case the people didn't see it earlier, it says Protostar NX76884.
So my guess is how they name each ship after its particular class. Then I would think this follows the same suit and it's a Protostar.
There are a few exceptions, but typically, that's how it works.
Although I'm guessing though that this is, as far as Starfleet is concerned, this ship is a failed experiment. So my guess is there probably aren't any more of these ships.
Maybe, or they started again after this one was lost.
That's possible, sure.
They didn't exactly.
This could be a ship that was sent out to the quarter by Starfleet after Voyager got back. In case other races wanted to make contact with Starfleet, and it crashed.
That kind of goes against the Prime Directive, though, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Well, it was seeking out some of the races Voyager had contacted.
I think they were just testing a new. They were testing a new propulsion.
Why would Janeway be
Let's calm down for a second, Raina. Sure. As an outsider looking in, what are your impressions of the Protostar?
It looks. I know this is probably going to sound generic as hell, but it looks like it's built for, honestly, like stealth. I know there's something about it, that sleek design. It doesn't look like it's big enough to be like somewhat of a combat vessel, but it looks something for like going in undetected, honestly.
Are you saying this thing is the Normandy?
Basically, yeah. That's what it reminds me of. Like, it doesn't look big enough or like really like plated enough for combat, but it also doesn't look like it's an exploration vessel. So it looks kind of like something for like to get in and out stealth wise. It looks like a Normandy.
It's even got the bay on the underside to drop an
It has that like very feel to it. Like, and not to mention, like, do you notice that how long it could have been sitting there undetected? That there has to be some kind of way to remain it shielding from other people. I would assume that there's other people on this prison planet or whatever.
Well, there's another thing too. The Federation has scout ships as well. So if you did have a scout ship of any kind, you would want it to have some sort of stealth or low profile capability.
That's what it seems like to me from the outside looking in. It's small enough for that, and it doesn't look very like it's combat heavy.
My another guess might be maybe they didn't go condition blue and land it right. I think it might have been a botched landing. If that ramp is down, they may have intentionally wanted to land but botched it or something like that. Because it could have, like, again, the whole remote concept that they wanted to remote land the ship. They lost control. It crashed basically because notice how the ship is. I know it's computer and it's animated, but there's no damage to that ship. So it's very possible they may have just botched the landing, and then now it's like a few systems went offline, the ramp is down, and then it's just basically sitting there, and then Starfleet has lost communication with it.
Actually, I got kind of a theory, and I don't know if this is right. You guys said it's like a prison-type planet, right? That
it looks like
or mining.
What?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to propose a theory, and this is just outside with no knowledge at all. But what if they sent a crew in, right, to investigate this planet, and the ones that were on that ship were captured, and Janeway's like, I don't know, like a security mechanism at first? Like that they actually captured the people that were on these ships, maybe killed them, maybe they're still in prison, who knows? And maybe it's just that these kids by luck come upon it.
Well, what if the kids are descendants of that crew that got captured?
I have an alternative theory that this ship crash lands or lands on the planet at the same time or during their escape.
Okay,
like they're trying to figure out how to get out, and then this ship appears and gives them the opportunity.
Yeah, because this ship is not. That could be because that ship has not been there very long.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, it doesn't, like, that would be the only way to explain it to me is if it's stealth based, because it doesn't look damaged, looks completely in perfect condition. It doesn't look like there's any. The worst it looks like is it crash landed by the angle it's on that rock, but even then, it doesn't look damaged at all. I don't know if that's just the art design or what. I don't know, but that's just my take on it.
This isn't a joyride; it's an escape plan.
All right, let's wrap up. Prodigy, any final thoughts, everybody?
Fall 2021. Looking forward to it.
I'm in it.
Hell yeah! There's so much greatness.
I'm in it for the run with you guys. So.
I know Space Mom Janeway. She's going to take care of us.
You guys realize this is going to probably be the first Star Trek show that I'm watching live with you guys?
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, no, not Lower Deck. Did you watch Lower Deck season 1? Because if you're going to watch season 2,
I might actually bring Lower Deck season 1 to Texas to see if it might be good.
Because
granted, it is like there's a lot of reference humor, but I mean, I watched Lower Decks with my roommates who are not super into Star Trek, so who knows?
I wouldn't mind watching. I've been saying I'd want to watch it. I just haven't got Paramount Plus. So
real quick,
speaking of Lower Decks,
sorry, real quick. Okay. Season 3 Discovery out on DVD today.
Oh, really?
Speaking of Lower Decks, the second trailer that was released at Comic-Con was for Lower Decks Season 2. An interesting-looking montage of what is probably the first few episodes, and holy crap, was I rolling.
Yes.
Especially when we saw the goddamn plate!
All right. Story time.
Oh my god, hang on.
For context in that. I am on the Star Trek shitposting Facebook group. It's one of the only reasons I still go back to that damn service, because although I am technically employed by Facebook, I think it sucks. Anyway, subcontracting. Anyway,
poor thing.
one of the most common memes in that group is the cute decorative plate, and there's no way that this was not inspired by that. The writers from Lower Decks are now very explicitly lifting things from memes.
This isn't the first time. This is not the first time this has happened.
I know it's not the first time, but this is the first explicit thing. It couldn't be any more explicit unless it was actually Q on the plate.
Yeah.
But they're using Tom Paris instead.
I mean, let's be honest. Wasn't it you, Ross, that posted a couple of days ago that whole Van Sitter's tweet about him acknowledging some kind of meme thing from Twitter about Star Trek? I
don't remember.
All right.
Okay, it's in your Discord. I'll go and find it.
Oh yeah, it was the helmets, the Spock helmet.
Yeah.
It's now canon.
He shared a Voyager meme where Tuvix was wearing the Spock helmet, and then in the next frame you had Tuvok and Neelix with their own helmets, and then Tuvix is left there in the center. So for a moment he had his own helmet, and for that minute Tuvix was happy.
So folks, there's a lot more than a plate.
Yes, there is more than a plate. So it was a lot more of the Lower Decks humor. It was just wacky, zany adventures jumping from one thing to another. We saw Boimler in a extreme pain in a transporter. We saw Mariner in the brig, her favorite place. We saw Tendi get swallowed by a slime monster and pooped out.
Yes.
I mean, that's hentai up and down and all over the place.
Oh yes. We saw a lot. It looks like we actually got we're going to get an episode of Mariner and her dad going on an adventure. So some father-daughter bonding, Admiral and Rebellious Ensign.
I love the end. Love you, Mom.
Yes, that was a snap.
Don't disobey me again. Do what I want.
Do what I want.
What I like about this one, Jeffrey Combs being in it now gives him, I believe, officially 8 Star Trek characters. He's now played the most Star Trek characters in the franchise.
Correct.
The evil computer. Are you doing all right? I'm concerned about you. My sensors say you could lose a couple pounds.
Oh, that reminds me something about Prodigy. Okay, that sinister voice of the Overlord guy at the beginning of the Prodigy trailer. Did anybody else think that sounded like oh good God, Galron?
Robert
Does.
Rodney? No.
It sounded like Galron. It not like the Klingon character, but like
The actor.
that
Robert
Galron.
Rodney.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It could very well be. I thought
I'd have to listen to it again.
Don't.
What are you guys making?
Deem. I gotta.
What are you guys making Ross do? Quit it.
Stretching.
I
we're
don't
not
know.
making
But
things
Luke, things are
Stretch and
happening.
flex.
But at
This
least
is what I
we're
do every morning at work too.
But at least we're being excellent to each other.
yeah.
Party on, dudes.
and Ross,
Okay, so-
after that stretch, you need to hydrate.
So Travis, you have a story to tell us.
Yes,
Tell
I
us a
see
story.
that.
So today, I was, getting used to my new job position. I was doing my first full day of driving, actually, and I was on the road, so I was not able to watch these trailers as they came up live. I didn't get to see them until maybe 2 hours or 3 hours after they had dropped. But on our lunch break, I finally was able to watch the trailers, and I started with the Lower Decks trailer. Now, you need to understand is that I am currently training with a coworker who is not a Trekkie at all. And we were just, we were just parking. He was getting his Chipotle, and he's sitting in the passenger seat next to me, and I have my phone plugged into an auxiliary cable because we're jamming out to music while we're on the road. And so while he's eating Chipotle, I'm like, okay, I'm going to watch these trailers, and I'm going to start with Lower Decks because I am a huge Lower Decks guy. So I don't disconnect the auxiliary cable from my phone, so the audio is playing through the truck speakers, but like the phone's just kind of resting on the steering wheel, so he doesn't see any of this most likely. And so I am, I'm chuckling because the first thing that they do when they do like, and they left us, like I was laughing pretty hard at that, but when the plate came up, I lost it. And you have to picture like somebody who is not in touch with the like Star Trek ship posting memes or anything. Just like if you hear Tom Paris say like, yeah, but you're talking to a plate, and all of a sudden someone just loses it. You have to think like, is that guy okay? Why is he laughing at such a dumb sentence? Like this really got me going. And I mean, like, I am looking forward to Lower Decks season 2. Like I was like, from the moment we first saw the first teaser, I was on board. Like I am absolutely looking forward to this season. I still very much love this show. My sister is absolutely looking forward to it as well. But man, like this trailer really sold me. If there was like, admittedly, like the previous teaser, I was like, oh, someone just lit a firework outside my window. The previous teaser didn't really like it didn't really get me up to like the hype levels that I was hoping for. This trailer most definitely did. I am very much looking forward to it, and I've gushed about it long enough. Somebody else take the mic.
Okay, so here's the moment of truth for this. We got our two dislikers that I'd like to hear from. Son, you talked about how you're not a big fan of Lower Decks, mostly because of the art style and the humor doesn't quite, and Greg too, the humor doesn't quite get you the right way. So I'd like to hear what your both of your thoughts are on the trailer.
Good timing, Justin. I mean, I can appreciate a good joke with this again. The Tom Paris plate. I mean, I'd be concerned. You're talking to a plate. It must be the fumes.
Oh my god, you liked it?
I mean, overall, yeah. I kind of figured the end of it. I was like, it was just so much to grasp in one sitting because, like, I had just watched the Prodigy trailer a minute long, so after watching the Lower Deck show, I was like, wow, there's a lot crammed into this one. I'm gonna watch it like I did season 1. I'm curious to see what they're gonna do with Boimler. I don't know why I'm fixated on Boimler. It's just, we'll say he's my favorite character, I guess, but it's just that I'm fixated on his character. He's clearly gonna have the most stuff happen to him. I mean, he's talking to a Tom Paris plate. He's got problems.
It looks like he's back on the Cerritos too, because
I'm curious.
Uniform.
I'm wondering if he's like gonna start the season on the Cerritos to then go back to the Titan, or if he's like gonna end the season on the Cerritos. Like it's maybe like 2 or 3 episodes before the season end, he transfers back. Mariner,
C1, it looks like he's in a prison camp. I think it almost looks like he's fighting the other Titans.
Pac-Leds, yeah. So okay,
Pac-Leds are the big bad.
They needed somebody to fix their ship so they can go. Boimler is very talented. He may be a little neurotic, but he's very talented. My takeaway from this wasn't the Paris plate, as great as that was. It wasn't the Jeffrey Combs anger computer. It wasn't even I chuckled at Mariner going, "There's a security team waiting for me, isn't there?" My takeaway was the Tamarian. If I don't hear him,
I forgot to mention him.
Oh my god! I'm like, this is gonna be
brilliant.
He's their new chief of security. I'm like, oh god. If I don't hear him say Picard and Dathan at El Adril, I'm gonna be disappointed. It's like he's got to mention at least once, like, oh hey, did you hear about this? And then him say the line.
And then I joined the 7.
But the Tamarian is gonna be really, really interesting because. Yeah, the way their speech pattern says there's no universal translator because they're speaking English, if you will. Who said it in the chat earlier? I think they said speaking in memes is what they said. Ross, okay. So speaking in memes.
But you know what, though? Now that they've made contact with them, all a computer needs to do is download their cultural database, and then.
My guess is they did that. If he's a chief of security, Carlos is probably right. They probably hopefully did that, but still going to
probably this way they do their greetings.
But
I'm just looking forward to finally getting more than just 5 Tamarin references.
So
that's the thing. The constant joke with the Tamarian is that his communicator is constantly on the fucking fritz.
So he'll
be speaking a sentence, and all of a sudden, just one of the phrases will slip out.
So my
guess,
like
how they overdid Linus and the transporter thing in season 3.
So we're gonna have a bumblebee in space, basically. You know, he can't speak right.
Anybody else hear see the Boimler Borg image?
Yes. If you do the Borg, I hope that's a dream, because the one thing. Okay, as much as I love all Trek to the degree of stay away from the Borg, just do that. The Lower Deck season 1 touched on it. Picard obviously touched on it. It was TNG and Voyager's big thing. Leave the Borg now because we're good. But if it's a dream,
all season 1 was just a hologram of the Borg. It was a hologram fight.
Yeah, it was a training simulation.
But
they're all
away from the Borg. It's like people are like,
load program Smorgasbord.
No. There was also the Borg at the end of the season.
Yeah, with the
little learning Borg, where they were all learning about.
In the future.
Where they were all learning about O'Brien.
Hold on, I just spilled the rest of my tea. Hold on.
Red alert! Red alert!
Personal difficulties.
Oh my!
Shut up.
Okay,
that was a stop it. That was a kind of stop it.
Now that Travis is gone. Hold on. Now that Travis is gone, holy shit, does Lower Decks suck? All right, I'm done. I gave my 2 cents on it. So, son.
I've not seen the trailer at all, and I'm like
son.
you, Raina. I have no fucking clue what this plate is about, or whatever the hell it's supposed to be referencing.
You gotta watch the trailer.
No. Like, I don't even get the reference that the plate is even making. I don't know. I'm not that deep into Trek. I mean,
You don't have to be. You just they have ads for them in magazines.
Yeah, you've never done a collector's plate of anything?
Those commemorative Star Trek plates. Super cheesy.
I have never seen the commemorative plates.
I actually just Googled it, and there's a Facebook post where this woman, her mother has like all of them, like on the wall, like just they're all over the place. I didn't realize how many of these damn things are made.
My uncle had like 20 of them when I was growing up. That was a lot.
Like this. The only thing I have, the only thing I have that are collector's items are the Burger King glasses from 09 Trek.
Oh, I have those.
And
I have the Taco Bell Godzilla glasses.
I specifically asked my family members who were near Burger King to go and get me one of each. So there's that. That's all I have on collector Trek. So I don't know anything about these plates.
Oh, collector's plates. They were very 80s to 90s.
So
they go back to the 70s, dude.
Oh yeah.
So like,
yeah.
Remember Carlos is old.
I've not watched
I was there
either. I'm just glad you guys are happy and enjoying it.
It's just it's so cheesy that to actually see one in a Star Trek show is hilarious.
Like your Spock helmet last season.
Yeah.
I mean,
we got the Spock
never
helmet.
We would never expected to see that in the canon of the show, and then all of a sudden it shows up. We're like, oh fuck, they did.
I do have one gripe, and this isn't on Lower Decks. This is more Jerry O'Connell because he plays Commander Ransom. He's all, I play the best commander in Starfleet. I'm like, Jerry, shut up.
Yeah.
He got a chuckle out of the. I forgot if he did that with the Lower Decks panel or with the Prodigy one. But he's all, I play the best commander in Starfleet. He's all, because Will Riker was promoted. I'm like, time out. He got a long way to go. But that was my only gripe is that. But Jerry, I can appreciate his enthusiasm for being a part of the Trek family. If you go back and watch his podcast, his wife and Ethan Peck crashed his panel. It was hilarious. So, yeah, that was definitely worth watching for that.
His wife, who's playing number one on
Strange New Worlds, Ethan Peck.
Worlds.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They have constant arguments over who's the better number one.
And they're good friends with Jonathan Frakes.
I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say she's gonna be a better first officer than him, and that's gonna be a hell of a funny thing to see.
One of the things I love about Riker on Lower Decks that we saw in season 1, and we've seen several times in the teasers and trailers that have come out, is he loves being a captain. Like, he has fun in the middle of death-defying activities that are going on with the ship, and it just makes it really hilarious because that contrasts with Boimler, who is worried about everything, anxious about everything, and so I like that as a setup to comedy involving Boimler.
But having seen him captain the Enterprise, I'm like, he was in command of the Enterprise a lot. It's like, he didn't do that, but he was also, I will say this though,
he was in command under. It was Jean-Luc Picard's ship. He
had to behave.
His demeanor from the Enterprise carries over the Titan. He's very relaxed. He's not, as much as Picard is great, Riker is more relaxed. Like, if you, like Wesley being late, that instance where Wesley's late, Riker's just like, hey, you're good. Don't worry about it. Picard just chewed his ass out. So that's where Riker and him differ. Riker's more
Picard would have escorted him to the ready room and chewed him out.
Yes, exactly.
He wouldn't have chewed him out in the middle of the bridge.
No, but yeah, that's where they differ, is that Picard would have chewed him out. Riker just like, hey, did you oversleep? You're good.
Another couple notes on the trailer. A few people on Twitter and other places have pointed out we're getting more animated series references.
Yes.
Oh God, yeah.
In the first season, we had the shape-shifting tentacle being who on the Andorian Quarter. This season, we got a glimpse of someone who was dressed similarly and had the same kind of look as an alien in the animated series that was able to separate segments from its body. Like, it could detach its arms and head and torso to get out of situations, and they were doing some kind of pep talk for the Cerritos.
I'm not super familiar with the animated series as of yet. I still need to watch that in its entirety.
They did a lot of zany
enjoy it.
It's
They did,
Maybe, but
they did a lot of progressive things too, like the all-woman away team to go down and save all the men from the fucking sirens.
there was that.
And Uhura was
Uhura took
captain.
charge.
Yep.
They also met the devil.
Yep.
And drank with him.
Oh, here you
Drank
go,
with him, yeah.
Ross. Leia's comment on YouTube. You're gonna have to.
Which one?
Isn't that the guy from Sliders? Yeah.
Yes,
But Gary
yes, it
O'Connell
is.
is the guy from
Sliders.
I'm still
And
really
Stand By Me.
I'm still very much hoping that I believe it was Jason who initially proposed this idea. I really, really hope that Lower Decks does a time travel episode that goes back and they do it in the style of the original animated series. That would be
Oh, no.
That would be so
I
funny.
actually
Oh,
would
no.
love that. I would love that. That would be funny.
See the Guardian of Feather?
It's so fun to see them drawing from all these eras of Trek, and that the first animated, the first modern animated series is making references to the original animated series. I think that's just brilliant from just a design perspective, but that kind of symmetry to it. We don't get it in any of the other shows. It's awesome. Except for that one throwaway line in Picard about the Kzinti. Two Sliders actors? Who was the other?
On a side note, we love you, Jason. Hope you're doing well.
I know Jerry O'Connell. I don't remember. And John Rhys Davies has never been in Star Trek, as far as I know. The guy that played Remy, definitely not. I'm blanking here. Who's the other?
Leah, tell us who it is.
Yes, please. Illuminate us, Leah.
Come on, Leia. You're still watching.
Any other, while we're waiting, any other thoughts on...
Oh,
John Davis, he was?
He was on Sliders.
Well, I know. I just said John Rhys Davies. I knew he was on Sliders.
Where was he?
I remember
Leonardo da Vinci in Voyager.
Damn it!
Oh, I realized. I hope I don't mind backtracking just a little bit here. I totally forgot this when we were talking about Prodigy. I like how the I don't remember the character's name, but I found it funny that I think Rexplosion, the same voice actor as Rexplosion, plays one of the characters in Prodigy.
All right. Thank you, Leah. Thank you, everybody. Any final thoughts on Lower Decks before we go on to our final Star Trek topic of the night?
August 12th can't get here fast enough.
I would like to finish my original thought before you all broke away.
Sorry, please
and
continue.
I'd like to say something.
I have no clue about the plate thing. I'm just glad you all are happy.
Thank you, son. Real quick before Randy goes, Travis, you are right. It is Jason Moustakis, and he Rexplosion. He plays he plays a character in Prodigy.
All right, Randy, go ahead.
I got to say that actually this trailer actually is going to get me to watch the first season. I'm actually kind of excited about it. Like, I was kind of iffy about it when I was looking up the first season trailer, but when I watched this, I'm like, what was I thinking? I really should have watched it.
Yeah, interestingly, in the first season, we weren't all in agreement for the first couple of episodes, maybe even the first 3 episodes, that it was good. Some people thought it had a little bit of a shaky beginning, but they certainly got their legs fast because the rest of the season was amazing.
Episode 3 and on, I thought were brilliant.
No, the only one who was like on the train the whole fucking time was Sean.
All right. We got our moving on to our final bit of Star Trek news this week. We finally have an official update to Section 31. And it's been pretty quiet. Still mostly pre-production stuff. But now we know for sure why we haven't heard anything for a while. And surprise, it's COVID.
Yeah, I think that's what we basically speculated the last time we talked about this a few weeks ago, and it makes sense. I mean, it's thrown off all of their schedules for when shows were going to be produced and premiered, and given the schedule of shows they have in production right now and the number of them, it's no wonder that this one hasn't really moved very far along.
If I may, real quick, I gotta crack a joke on Justin. Hey, Justin, what else was delayed due to COVID? Oh, Orville's at 3 seasons. How many seasons does Section 31 have?
Well, how many episodes does Star Trek have over Orville since Orville season 2?
I think Justin wins that one.
I'm counting. Come on, Greg. How many?
Well, Orville
how many
episode?
are coming out? Orville season 3.
I don't know how many episodes in season 3.
You're both just dick waving when anybody can go and watch either series. Stop it.
All right. I know we've done a lot of speculation before on Section 31. We've all pretty much gotten our thoughts on about it, except for Greg and Raina. I'd like to hear what you guys think about the idea behind Section 31 and what you want to see out of the series. Greg, why don't you go first?
Well, Michelle Yeoh is an automatic winner. So her headlining the show obviously is good enough. I am just absolutely dumbfounded on when and where they're going to do it, because she went through the Guardian for forever in season 3. So it's like, okay, she went back to her place in time, basically. So it's like, this has got to be her time, before she hopped on Discovery and went with them 900 years in the future. Now, the theories you guys were pitching on last time, like, oh, she could go back to this era of Star Trek, go back to this era. I wouldn't be surprised if they bring in another old Star Trek character now, because production hasn't technically started yet. This is a way out there theory, is bring back Anthony Montgomery and play Malcolm, because he was Section 31. But that's a stretch, because at this point he would be pretty old or dead.
I think that's a stretch.
Anyway, Carlos.
Fanlink.
It would be interesting to see it just from the standpoint of, like, okay, we technically have seen how the Tal Shiar worked. We've seen how the Obsidian Order worked. Section 31, we only got Sloane a couple times. So it's like, she can help us. She's obviously going to help us give us backstory. I'm just curious of when and where they're going to do it.
All right. So, Raina, it occurs to me that you probably have no idea what Section 31 is. So, Section 31 was introduced in DS9 as a shadow organization within Starfleet. Enterprise kind of fleshed this out a little bit, but then in Discovery, we got a bit that it's actually a part of Starfleet. It's an actual part of Starfleet security, just, in the Spec Ops side of it. So does the idea of a Black Ops, Spec Ops, Starfleet show appeal to you at all?
So they're like Spectres.
Russian KGB, basically.
Okay, I got to relate it to Mass Effect, because that's like the closest damn thing I can think of. Yeah, I'd be into it. Like, I kind of like that stuff that, I was just reading the news article while Greg was talking, like listening, and I kind of like that she's not allowed to communicate with who she's been with. That makes an interesting character dilemma. So I'm kind of curious to see that. It kind of makes it interesting that you've got crews of Starfleet kind of like dealing with things out there, and then you got this organization that may or may not be helping them, like these events, and you have they have no idea. And I always find that interesting that you got these outside forces helping. So yeah, I'm in.
Cool.
I won't get the references, but I'm sure that I'll enjoy it as a show. So.
All right. Well, that takes care of our final Star Trek topic for the night. So next up, we were supposed to do a live trailer react for the Dune movie trailer. I've deliberately not watched it, showing an incredible amount of restraints, because I am a huge Dune fan.
We can still do it.
Yeah, we're still going to do it.
Yeah.
But it's supposed to have someone else here, which is not. But anyway,
she's watching in the comments.
Is that Leah?
Yes.
Yeah.
Glad to have you here.
Hang on just a second. Let me switch over.
I'll bring it up on mine so that.
Thanks.
Or if you want to. Yeah, you
No,
said
you want to bring it up on yours? You
Yeah.
can. I can.
Whoever has the better connection.
Well, I'm since to keep from getting a, I'll keep the sound off so we don't get freaking
DMCA.
Copyrighted.
yeah copyright.
So we're
All right.
going to lose half the trailer. Okay.
I'll just, to fill the void,
Well, most of you
I'll,
guys have seen this thing already, right?
I have
No.
not seen a single thing, dude.
That's why we were going to do a live react.
Well, then I will turn off sharing and turn on sound. Okay.
As long as we
and-
talk over it, we'll be okay.
Well, no, we should talk over it so that it's technically transformative.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Like,
It's up. Ready when you are, Justin.
All right. 3, 2, 1.
Oh yeah.
And
Oh, just look at that logo. It's amazing.
ooh, wow.
They make God's love.
It's Paul.
Okay, one of the things about this trailer that I love is Timothy Chalamet's expressions in it
Yes.
are amazing. Like they're variations of the same thing without looking boring.
I mean, this already looks like a better version of the new Star Wars trilogy.
Yeah, look at his face.
Wow.
And the cinematography, good God.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, you know,
That's
as
the
I was
one I
watching this and thinking about the Dune movie from the 80s, and I thought,
Throw that away.
well, one of the reasons why is the one in the 80s, we really went for sort of a big spectacle, brighter
Whoa,
colors.
look at that.
Everything here is muted, and so it feels more real to me.
Holy shit.
This really does look like a better version of Star Wars. What
What do you think Star Wars got its ideas?
What do you think Star Wars got the original ideas? As Rob said.
Kurosawa films,
Boo.
I even really
spaghetti
like
westerns.
they did the costume design really well too.
Yes, it did. But gotta wonder, is Patrick Stewart floating around somewhere?
The
love
cast they
this scene.
have for this movie is outstanding.
Well, that's
Whoa.
is that Jason? That was Jason Momoa, right?
Yes,
Yep.
it was.
Yeah.
Duncan, Idaho.
Duncan Idaho, yep. Josh Brolin is Gurney.
Oh my god, Cable and Aquaman's in this movie, sweet.
and Thanos.
I didn't realize that's what you guys call making
Drax.
quick fries.
Leia's comment.
Duncan Idaho's.
Hey, look, and it's a blob to kill Tasha Yar.
I think putting a knife in front of your forehead should become the official Super Geeks salute.
No.
No.
No, let's
Although
not
I
do
am
that.
thinking about riding a dragonfly now.
Fear is a mind killer. Where the fear is gone, only I will remain.
And
Oh
here
my God.
comes the
There's
worm.
the worm.
Oh, no.
Okay, I'm a little disappointed.
Oh,
What?
Ross.
Oh.
Enlighten us.
And the reason being,
No, Patrick
that's the
Stewart?
same trailer they released a year ago.
Oh, yeah, they have a new. There's a new trailer I posted in the chat.
Yeah, was that the wrong one?
I had linked the wrong one.
Oh,
Oh, there you go.
Oh, right.
So the disappointment is in yourself. Okay.
Ross has officially ruined Christmas.
Oh, shut up.
Look, I'll be perfectly honest. I haven't seen this trailer either, so there you go.
Yeah, I have.
Hey, Ross.
That's the trailer that was on the Trello.
That's
Ross.
oh yeah, you're right.
I sent the new trailer in the chat.
So, wait a minute, it's Carlos's fault.
It is my fault, but when I looked it up, the Google thing said posted to a few hours ago.
Yeah,
So,
that was probably somebody being a douchebag for clicks.
mm,
All right, so let's
No.
try this again.
The link I sent is the new trailer. And the only reason I know that is because it's 3.5 minutes long.
3.5 minutes.
Well, that's one reaction, Justin.
Well,
Can you put it at least in theater mode?
Yeah, that's what I'm going to do.
Rhythm.
Okay.
Okay, here we go.
Okay, Justin.
There we go. Okay.
Hold on to your butts.
Okay, this is different. Okay.
Ooh.
Sam.
That Sam looked good.
It's Ray.
It's Zendaya.
Oh, shut up.
Mary Jane.
Okay, that's closer. Oh.
The outsiders ravage our lands in front of our
Anvil
eyes.
thing.
Okay, nice perspective shift.
Sam.
Oh.
Star Wars.
Something we haven't seen before.
Damn, the Jawas got a bunch of firepower, don't they?
Rain, fire.
Drax.
What's to become of our world?
Guardians of the Galaxy. Reagan.
This really has some big stars.
Oh, yeah.
A boy. Pumpkin, can I trust you with something? Yes, always. You know that.
Oh.
From beard to no beard.
Nice suit.
A girl on Arrakis.
Yeah.
I don't know what it means.
This guy is like Kylo Ren. I'm just saying.
That's what I'm saying.
I know. I'm agreeing with you.
Hello, Maxwell.
Light moments.
There is
Good.
no call. We do not answer. There is no
I
faith.
love how
We betray.
the shield effects that they're using.
Smile, Gurney. I am smiling.
I am smiling.
House Atreides accepts.
I know you.
So Leia loves the picks for Gurney and Duncan. She absolutely loves that they're spot on with their casting.
Hey, Trey.
Come with me.
I'm very happy to see that the still suits actually look like still suits.
You never met Harkonnens before. They're not human. They're brutal.
That still looks like Drax.
He sees too much. This is why June.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh.
God in heaven.
Oh my god.
Get everything with guns off the ground.
It blows up real good.
Yeah, it does.
Better than the Michael Bay movie.
Yeah.
My family off one by
I have to say, I highly approve of Timothée Chalamet's wardrobe throughout this entire. He looks spiffy.
Yes.
Spiffy like Carlos at a buffet.
That is not spiffy. That's gross.
Yummy.
That's egregious.
Man doesn't seek to lead. He's called to it.
Oh my.
If your answer is no, you'll still be the only thing I ever needed you to be. My son.
What's that?
Will you protect Paul?
And there's a Batman moment.
Jessica's still a badass. Good.
Only together can we stand a chance.
I want a mini Lex.
They look stormtroopers.
Wait for it.
Oh, okay. Combat still suits. I like it.
I think the logo actually is really cool.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, that's a win.
How you
Are
feel,
you happy
Ross?
now, Ross?
Thanks, Greg. Thanks.
Are you happy now, Ross?
Yes, I'm very happy. I'm extraordinarily happy. It looks like they're actually doing it right.
So this
Whoa.
movie is going to be, I believe, the first quarter or first half of the first book.
Yeah.
So I think they're trying to they're either splitting the first book into 3 or 2 movies. So yeah, they're gonna be able to actually tell the story.
We did
So,
get a very
good
good look at him, but but just that brief glimpse of Baron Harkonnen.
Guys, I would like to let everyone know that we are no longer live on YouTube. We've been blocked for copyright violations.
Oh, God damn it.
It'll cycle back in a minute now that it's not sharing. stupid.
like our stream has been completely like shut off.
We want to link them over to the Twitch chat.
This happened when I did I tried to do a react to a couple Rooster Teeth trailers, and YouTube didn't like that very much.
I wouldn't try this again.
Yeah. So as I was saying a minute ago, just the briefest glimpse of the Baron Harkonnen, just whoo. Oh, looks like they're actually doing him right, unlike David Lynch.
Still so bitter, Ross.
I am extremely bitter. They took a marvelous, dynamic, scheming, evil, irredeemable villain and turned him into a one-dimensional cartoon character.
Yeah.
They got an amazing actor to play him in Skarsgård.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. Skarsgård is just he's going to be so much fun. We've gotten so few look at him in these trailers.
Yeah.
I'm hoping for something big.
We're back on YouTube.
Okay. Whew. All right. From that excitement, I apologize to you folks on YouTube. It seems like live reactions just aren't going to be a thing here. We tried.
I mean, it's good to know that you can't do it, so that I mean, it's stupid. You used to be able to do live reactions and just talk over it, but apparently you can't even do that anymore. So
See, they were doing that earlier with the Star Trek panel. That's why I'm like, why did we get popped?
They probably had
because we're not the IP holders.
What's good? If you remember last time, whenever they did a Comic-Con thing, they were sharing. YouTube actually blocked CBS All Access, and they had to halt the panel.
You guys don't understand how finicky the algorithm is for YouTube. The algorithm for YouTube is so fucking finicky that when Sony was streaming its own shit for E3, YouTube shut down the Sony stream due to a copyright claim from Sony.
Itself.
That's what happens when you automate these systems. Anyway,
but it's funny. You were talking about the Baron. Sorry, how you liked him.
Yes.
Leia actually has an issue with how he looks in the movie.
Really?
I was like, yeah. When I showed her the new trailer, she goes, "I don't really like how the Baron looks." Like she's very skeptical about it, but she was gushing about the rest of the trailer. But she was a little bit iffy on the Baron. I'm like, really?
Well, we got so few looks at it. We never got a good look at him.
Yeah,
we've only got his face, a very wide distance shot, and then a profile shot. We haven't seen him in action. I mean, he needs to rhyme. If he doesn't rhyme at least once in a scene,
please just once.
That might ruin it.
Because that's the kind of thing that in a movie, it just ends up feeling.
It's a part of his character, Carlos.
I understand that, but
in the book, every time he was making a point, every time he was closing out a scene, he rhymed.
Yeah, we'll see.
Anyway,
I'm sure they'll do it at least once, but.
So we go from that wonderful high, with the exception of YouTube being a dick, to a bit of a low, as this week the state of California filed a lawsuit against Activision Blizzard over a 2-year-long investigation into harassment and discrimination of female employees at the company. This is a suit against Activision Blizzard, but it is also directed at Blizzard itself, among several of the teams, including, quite notably, members of the World of Warcraft team. And the details of this suit is, quite frankly, horrific.
Yeah.
All I got to say is I am glad that someone is finally holding Blizzard and Activision accountable for the years of bullshit they have gotten away with, because some of that shit is absolutely, frankly, disturbing and disgusting, and I cannot believe people it's been this long for something like this, for this to finally happen.
As I won't go into too many details, but the suit talks about frat boy culture among many of the male employees, where they would go from office to office and cubicle to cubicle, hitting on women, making suggestive comments, and things like that. And one of the most in a retreat, apparently, one of the senior team leaders was actively harassing a specific female employee, and during a retreat, she committed suicide.
And like this particular employee had also like one of the more disturbing things that happened to her prior to this was that she had nude photos distributed at a like office party, basically. And the fact is, like, what really just angered me about this is there was like how Blizzard has handled it before and like from the past to present, because PR Nightmare doesn't begin to justify this, like doesn't even begin to describe this. I'm actually like, one of the things that like people might say, like, why haven't these women gone to HR to, you know, talk about this?
Because in the filing itself, it literally talks about a culture of retaliation that Activision Blizzard has been known for since even before like all of this shit, in just their journalism, like coverage of their games. They've been known for a bunch of retaliation.
And I mean, like, some of the responses that HR gave to these women were like, this is a privilege. It is a privilege to work here. One of the women straight up had one of the HR people call her a brat for, you know, like coming forward with these concerns, with these, you know, like, this person is sexually harassing me. Being called a brat over that is just unacceptable. And like, I don't know who released a I don't think it was JP what's his face who released this this statement, but like one of the some higher up released a statement actually condemning the California Fair.
That was Blizzard PR, or that was Activision Blizzard PR.
Oh, really? Well, they actually condemned how the investigation was portraying. They were saying like, oh,
2 years isn't long enough to do an investigation.
Like, they're saying it was skewed and distorted, that they've been very cooperative with the state of California over the course of this investigation. And now that they're bringing these scathing lies, they feel betrayed.
Here's the kicker, though. The filing completely debunks that PR, because the filing itself says that the organization in California doing this, they tried to settle out of court. They tried to do it quietly. For a whole month, they were in negotiation with the filers and with Activision Blizzard to try and get it settled. And Blizzard thought they could legally fight it. Well, I'm sorry, there's a little portion in there that you're not going to be legally able to fight Activision Blizzard. And it's the fact that they discovered that the female coworkers were actually being paid like $3 and $4 less an hour for their work of a very similar nature to their male counterparts. And, you know, that's the thing that we keep talking about all the time, about this wage gap thing. And you're actually doing it.
Yeah.
And here, I just want to bring this up. When I've talked about this before, the people I was talking with said, if there really was this wage gap, then why wouldn't they be hiring female employees so that they wouldn't have to pay them as much? Well, it's not about the pay. It's about the value of the work and how these employers value these women. They don't.
The flip side of that also is that one of the things they point out is that the men who were hired for these positions generally had friends already on the inside. So it wasn't about always trying to find the cheapest way to do what they do. It was hiring their friends.
Yeah, nepotism is a big thing in the gaming industry.
And probably I actually saw an example of this on Twitter today. BlizzCon 2010. During one of the Blizzard Q&A segments, a woman came up and asked a question. I love that we're getting some variety in women's armor, and they're not all, and we're getting to see so much more than just the same stuff. But when are we going to see?
She was more commenting about how powerful the female characters were. She loved how strong they were.
Thank you. And she was asking, when are we going to start getting armor that doesn't look like they stepped out of a Victoria's Secret catalog? To which one of the senior directors said, well, which catalog do you want to see them come out of? And then the entire panel just started joking about it.
I hate how there was like this sea of booze, like just the bro culture around her. That entire stadium just ganged up on her.
It started out with applause. There were applause
it started out with applause, but like it was just overwhelmed almost immediately. And the fact that so many of these, like the guy who sent out an email this morning who said he has been spending his entire career fighting this kind of behavior was on the exact end of that table. You know, like, when are we going to get the sexy cow female chieftain, throwing up the horns and just encouraging this bullshit.
Again, this is the thing where you go reset the clock, click, because the person who's supposed to be an ally is in the middle of all the bullshit.
And the reaction on the poor woman's face was she smiled and laughed it off, but you can see in her eyes that she was crying on the inside.
But see, here's another thing that needs to be pointed out from that video. This should be a defining moment in the coverage of gamers, because it is not just the gamers themselves perpetuating this quote-unquote gamer culture of misogyny. If it's literally the devs doing it, it's going to rub off on the people who play the games.
All right. Can I say something?
Go ahead.
Okay, so I don't know if she wants me to say her name or anything here on stream, but I had a friend that was very passionate about games, spent her whole life, from the moment she turned 16, started working at GameStop, even when it was going through that awful cycle of quality of life and everything. And she actually went and was a game dev for 5 years. And she was saying that the harassment was so bad, she don't even play games anymore. It ruined her whole experience. She lost all passion for it, went to school and turned around and became a teacher. She couldn't stand the culture that she was working at. And I just know that Blizzard, a lot of it is because they have a big legacy. It is because Ubisoft does the same thing. You have a big legacy and you think you're bigger than your actions, and you're not. And that's the problem that we're having is it's even reflected in their work that you can see that these people are just used as factories to pump out live services and bullshit like that. They have no passion. There's no creativity left in the AAA scene because they're sucking the life out of their devs. You have people that go into this and you have harassment and everything else. And Blizzard has the same bullshit chain of command that I had at one of my old jobs where you're screwed if you need to report someone for harassment. Because guess what? If the person is next in line in the chain of command, guess who it goes to? It goes up the freaking chain. And that's the whole thing with Blizzard. If your boss is harassing you, guess what? You report them. That's who it's going to. And I think it's ridiculous that we have these kind of systems still.
And that's why they're being sued.
Because that's the whole thing. When you have a boss, you would think that that's where most of the harassment's going to come from. Why would you have it sent there? It's so archaic, the workforce. And this goes beyond just game development. This goes into every avenue that we're at. That this should be a thing. The gaming industry has gotten evil in a lot of areas, especially these big companies that have legacy. BioWare, Ubisoft, Activision, Blizzard.
It's not just that they've gotten evil. It's that, a lot of these companies were built in the Silicon Valley age, the Google age, all that stuff. All of this frat boy type culture was built around Silicon Valley and Like Google itself started this way. Like Google itself still has some of this shit going on inside itself. Hence its own lawsuits going on right now.
But my point here is, regardless of how long it's been going on, are we still in this age where it's this thing? And I know a part of this industry is that it's hard to get jobs in. Exactly, it's really hard to get jobs in, and they take advantage that these people are looking for jobs.
Mm-hmm.
Because
this is the same problem. This is the same problem with Hollywood.
I think I realized how bad it was like a few months ago when I saw the thing on Ubisoft where they were harboring employees, protecting them, the ones that were amid sexual assault allegations and abuse of power and everything else. And guess what? These guys walked away with a severance package and everything. It's disgusting. Exactly. That it's so open and it's still happening, and I will always stand by that. That's why we see it most with these companies. I think Blizzard, their legacy, it's big, it's huge. You got Diablo, you got StarCraft, you got World of Warcraft. They're built on big stories and big legacies, and it gives them an ego. That's why you see this in the AAA space. I do believe that.
This is, and like you said earlier, this is exactly why people don't go to HR, because HR is part of that chain of command.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the same thing for why you have whistleblowers that don't whistleblow up the chain of command in things like the military, because it's going up the chain of command. And if the chain of command is corrupt, guess what? It's your ass on the line.
Yeah. And not to mention, look at CD Projekt Red, prime example. They had found out the ones that came out for that article and talked about how bad crunch was, and they fired each and every one of them. Yeah. Because that's the culture we live in, is that's like, and that's a whole different country. It's just, it's terrible that the game industry is in this bad a shape with this, because you're taking passionate people and you're killing their passion. You're literally taking what they want to give back to the community that they were a part of, and they just want to walk away from it because they've been treated so poorly. And I remember my friend was so deflated. She's like, I can't take it. She's like, I go home every day. I'm barely making money. And, I paid to go to school to do this and everything. And she's just like, I'm burned out. I'm exhausted. She don't play games anymore. She's tired. And she still has like stress-induced issues from working in that industry.
Mm-hmm.
Crunch, abuse of power, and not to mention they're making so much money. And it's just encouraging this kind of behavior. And I don't know. And as a gamer, just someone who lives by gaming, I hate seeing it go down like this. I really do. Because even as someone that's a consumer, like, I don't want to buy Blizzard's products. I'm a big Overwatch fan. I'm a big Diablo fan, and I can't stand to even like see their name on anything anymore because of this stuff. Ubisoft, I haven't bought any of their games after all that stuff started.
So that leads me to my question, which is, I'd be interested in hearing from each of you about this. Do you think, obviously they're being called to account by the state of California, but do you think that they're actually going to be called to account by their customers? Are we going to see a drastic reduction in their revenues? Or are people just going to skip it over because they want to play the games?
Their share price is going to take a hit. Their revenue won't.
Because they're hardcore fans that are going to support them no matter what, and they're not going to care if the president of the company, murders somebody. They're still going to support. It's the same toxic fandom as Paul Jenkins is trying to expose. I mean, it's the exact same.
It's going to be the
pattern. If the pattern goes like what happened after the Hearthstone controversy, where in a tournament, one of the players called up, Blitzchung, Free Hong Kong, Liberation of Our Time. He got banned from competing in the game ever again. The two commentators who were there for the game who weren't a part of it got suspended, and that was amid the whole Hong Kong protest event. Blizzard took a temporary hit, but people came back.
To be fair,
and that was a protest against violation of human rights, against an authoritarian government coming down on a traditional, a more free society, trying to make it all conform with them. And if people are okay with that, well,
my opinion on this is it's what I call it's basically trend protesting. It's when it's trending, they're going to take a hit in their stocks. They're going to take a hit in that, and they may even take a hit in revenue. But as soon as that stops trending, it's just going to go back to like it never happened. It's going to be archived there, but they're going to move on to something new. It's trend protesting.
This is actually part of the insidiousness that is gaming culture at the moment, specifically with the live services, all that kind of stuff, is that gaming companies like Blizzard, like Overwatch, they've cultivated this gaming idea of FOMO, the fear of missing out. And so when someone decides to take a stand, all they really have to do is promote the next big thing that if you're not here for this amount of time, you're going to miss out. And you see all of those people who are like, I'm deleting my account, suddenly going, no, I want my account back. I really want the thing.
Actually, you know what? To go on Sun and Ross's point about this too, look at what happened after the Hearthstone event. They came out to BlizzCon, announced Overwatch 2, all was forgotten and all was forgiven.
They did acknowledge it in a half apology, in a corporate apology kind of manner.
A non-apology.
That was
a non-apology apology.
Yeah.
If I may, there's
touch base on that.
Greg first, then Travis.
If I may, this is something I've been on the opposite end with the whole pay gap and how women are treated. When I was a cheer coach, I was getting paid less than the head coach. Like, we were both head coaches, I got paid less than her. But the way this is going with how the Activision Blizzard, there is a way to stop this, and it's outside oversight.
Yes,
a lot of people, and basically the one word is unions. If you form a union in any company, you are then held accountable. Like, yeah, the lawsuit's going to hold Activision accountable for about a year. They're going to eat a shit sandwich because they're probably going to lose this lawsuit. California is very progressive, so they're going to sit there and each judge is like, you know what, you're going to lose. The way to prevent something like this is to form unions. If they go and now they decide to form a union, get outside influence here, so then they film their own oversight. So it's like now they don't have to go to HR. They go to their union rep, and then the rep takes it to HR. And in most cases, the union rep goes to the third or second highest person in the company because they don't play that crap. So what people need to do is do that, because Activision, hopefully this is big enough that it'll start something. But frankly, I don't know if it will. Like I said, maybe a year, because the lawsuit is going to drag on. Activision is going to throw their money. They're going to throw their lawyers at it. It's never actually probably going to see a courtroom. They're probably going to settle out of court, make everybody sign an NDA, and then pay them off. And then either you keep your job or you quit, get out.
Considering this is a class action, I'm not sure the more than one complainants will all agree to an NDA.
You're right. You're probably right.
Because the plaintiff here is not people; it's the California state government.
Right, but it's on behalf of more than one person.
Yeah, sure. But they're not technically the plaintiffs.
Yeah, this is state of California versus Activision Blizzard.
And that's why this is why that's going to give them a bloody nose, because of California. It's the world's 7th largest economy, so it's like they have power. So if it's one thing that's not educators, like, again, back harping on the union thing, because I'm actually trying to be a union rep for a lot of people here in this town, in Las Cruces, because if you get enough people to where, like, oh, if there's and I highly accept that it's probably like few hundred people in this lawsuit that have been harassed. If you all got them to walk, and then at that point, like, let's say you have 1,000 people work for you, you have 800 of them walk, you're gonna fucking listen. But at this point, hopefully the class action suit goes their way in the best way possible, if that makes any sense, because
That's really their best bet, because I think the problem with the union is that they have a very steep hill to climb to get a union in a company like Blizzard.
Actually,
because
they don't.
because-
Sorry, no,
Well-
no, no. Forming a union is easy. Preferably, you want a person who has a
technically.
You want a person with a master's in business, but once you have something like that with the experience, then you basically talk to that person, file paperwork. In California, the paperwork would be kind of cake because they want to support the workers. But once you get the paperwork filed and you have your union rep and you form a union, you cannot be fired. You can't
be. Dude, there's so much else that goes into that. There has to be a vote. It has to be a majority vote of the employees.
Right.
Most of whom are men. That's going to be a huge obstacle to get over in terms of creating a union at this company.
Well, see,
hold on. Travis was trying to say something next.
Yeah.
I mainly wanted to touch, I kind of wanted to touch base on what Ross was saying in terms of Blitzchung and the apology that the president made. I mean, I remember when that apology was made, because when that whole controversy happened, I was very interested to see where it would go. And this was something that had really kind of shook me a bit. Blizzard to me is they've been a very big presence in terms of my gaming life. I am huge into StarCraft. I have a lot of books. This was for a very long time one of my very, very, very favorite sci-fi universes, and in a lot of ways it still is. And I was very passionate about it. And to see Blizzard at this point in time stoop to such a low, to just not only bring the banhammer down on someone who was supporting his country, but fire the people who were broadcasting it, who never, ever at one point, enticed him to say that. It shook me, and I didn't really understand. And so I was curious to see how they would address it. And admittedly, when the guy gave the non-apology, at first, I kind of took it with I gave him a bit of a benefit of the doubt, and it wasn't until it's really started to rattle around in my head that I was realizing they didn't really do anything to, really show that they were truly sorry for it. And it's left a sour taste in my mouth ever since. And honestly, after seeing the email that was sent this morning to Blizzard employees everywhere, this president is using a lot of that same fluffy language. A lot, I can't remember exactly who he referenced. He referenced something like, he was talking about how, I can't remember the person he mentioned, some John Strynham, I don't know, but it was very much kind of a grandstandy, I have been fighting my entire life against this kind of thing, and once again he dodges all responsibility. He never once says, we messed up, we have a problem. And to see this deflection, this dancing around this beating around the bush of behavior, to me, as a longtime fan of Blizzard, it really, really hurt. And I don't think I'm ever going to buy another Blizzard product again. This hurts. Because again, I really, really loved what this company used to give us in terms of games, in terms of stories, in terms of universes. There is so much that I grew up with that came from this company. So much that I still hold dear. So much that I just still love. Like, James Raynor is still one of my all-time favorite video game characters of all time, hands down. But I just cannot, in good faith, give this company any more benefits of the doubt. I just cannot. It's like it feels uncomfortable to even try. And yes, there will still be the people who are willing to forgive. And I'm sure that, the president will make his public non-apology and say that we didn't live up to the standards. We're working on it, trademark. And I'm sure that, there will be I'm sure that there will be plenty of fans who are definitely protesting in the moment. But I am very certain that this is also making a lot more heads turn than Blitzchung, and I'm sure that a lot of people are going to say enough is enough. This company isn't worth it anymore. I did read that. I read that a few World of Warcraft players were online today, mainly because they had already paid for their month's subscription or whatnot. So this is them saying, you know what? I've already paid for it. This is I might as well make time. They're doing some in-game protesting. They're saying goodbye to their friends. It's a big deal right now.
So I think a lot of people are forgetting the big protest point for the Blitzchung thing. It wasn't that he was banned. The firing of the announcers turned heads, but what got people really soured was the fact that Blizzard took away his winnings because of it.
Yeah.
And that's the outrage that the fan base of Blizzard was so adamant about. That Blizzard felt they had no recourse but to give the guy his money.
And one of the things that really burned me about that was that it wasn't even months later that Blitzchung happened in 2019.
Mm-hmm.
A year later, the George Floyd protests happened. Now, keep in mind that when Blizzard banned Blitzchung, they said that we're not a political platform to be voicing this kind of thing on. That was their words.
And then put BLM and everything.
And a year later, when George Floyd gets murdered and protests are breaking out all over this country, they have the gall to put on their Twitter that they are against racism and that diversity is a strength and that racism has absolutely no place anywhere in the world. Did they even did they not see how they reacted to this?
It's just PR for them. Look how they treat these companies treat Pride Month. They don't treat it as awareness for anything. They don't treat it properly as they should. It's a marketing thing. It always has been. The thing is even with Blitzchung, the thing that I wanted to say, to give you an idea, after that event went down, that whole thing, they still, by the end of the year, made $2.2 billion. In 2020, they made $8.1 billion. They get sued for a couple million. That's like pocket change. That's the worst part about it is they've built a fortress so high that it's damn near impossible to tear it down. The only way that these companies are going to get it is if the product stops selling. And sadly, I hate to say it with Blizzard, but the Overwatch community alone could sustain them. The Warcraft community alone could sustain them. And that's the horrible thing is that you will have people that no matter how bad it gets, you will have your whales in every company.
And
they've got a few less now. And this is a very important topic. There's still a lot more to say, but we have limited time, so we do need to move on. But I will end on this word. I do know a couple people who work at Blizzard, and at least one of them is a woman. And I'm not going to say names. I'm not going to ask questions, and I'm not going to call anybody up. But I will say that I got a hug if you need it, and I hope you're doing okay.
I want to end this. Go
ahead. There's one thing I want to point out from the suit. The suit actually calls out the retaliation as being both towards men and women as well. So if there were people who were if there were guys who were actually bringing this up to HR and other things, they too were being retaliated against.
Yeah.
I do want to say before we move on to those people that are really suffering through this and going through, you got to remember, for every person that's a dickhead and treats you like shit, there are 3 people that are willing to listen to you. And there are people out there that care, and they care about your well-being physically and mentally, and people are listening and are taking notice.
I want to end this on this note. There's a lot of people, offering sympathy. I want to offer a challenge to Blizzard. I don't remember who exactly said this in terms of basically they were coming out. They were telling their story. I don't know if Blizzard has heard this story yet. I doubt anybody at Blizzard watches this, but I want to echo this sentiment. Basically, what happened was after an incident concerning one of the World of Warcraft producers leading women on and doing his harassment, the president of Blizzard gathered all of the women who were at this BlizzCon, came into went into a room with them and talked he had a serious conversation with them. And one of the questions that one of the women asked him, which really struck a nerve with me, really hit the point home, was, what does zero tolerance mean? And I mean, the president gave a you think I've done nothing kind of response, but I mean, the fact remains that this guy had a job for months after this incident. What does zero tolerance mean, Blizzard? Be better.
All right. Thank you, guys. Heady topic. We get them every now and again, but it's good to share, to listen, and yeah. Well, from one company being absolutely despicable, we go to another company that's just being a dick. And a few weeks ago, we talked briefly about a fan animation being picked up by the IP holder and hired on. Dream come true, right? And a certain quote-unquote fan creator saying that, well, wouldn't it be nice if the people that sued me was more enlightened? Well, I guess you got a little egg on your face now, because Games Workshop has effectively banned all fan animations after gobbling up a bunch of them on YouTube. In an update to their intellectual property guidelines, Blizzard, wow, Games Workshop specifically called out fan animations and fan films. Individuals must not create fan films or animations based on our settings and characters. They're only created under license from Games Workshop. Now, the context in this is, after hiring on all of these animators, they are creating their own individual service that includes streaming content that these creators are making. They clearly do not want anyone else out there making something that might be confused as their own brand. So this is a bit different than what CBS did with the fan film guidelines. What do you guys think about this change?
It's kind of interesting because it effectively puts them in control over fan content, stops people from making money off of outside of, their control on fan content. Mainly, the aforementioned unmentionable person that we all despise.
Before you go on, It is not all fan content, just fan films and fan animations. Fan fictions, hobby books and magazines, fan art, and fan sites are still allowed, so long as it is very, very clearly stated that it is unofficial, and it doesn't use any iconography, copyrighted iconography from the setting.
So the biggest thing that this absolutely does, which I don't think anybody really saw coming, is that this kind of destroys the lore channels.
Ooh.
This destroys the lore channels because the lore channels create animations based on these characters, tell the histories of these characters, and yeah, it's fan based because it's from the perspective of whatever the creator is portraying as the lore and backstory from the books. So Games Workshop literally just shot themselves in the foot when it comes to all the lore people they didn't hire.
That's interesting. I don't obviously subscribe to the lore channels, but if you could answer for me a couple of questions. Typically, are these lore channels commentary, like voicing opinions on things, on the games?
No,
because that would be their salvation, actually.
What they do is that they're retelling. Go ahead, Sean.
For the most part, they're telling the stories. And most of the times they've actually commissioned either animation or art to go along with the story that they're telling as a way of explaining the lore of 40K.
Yeah, they probably don't have a legal leg to stand on if they continue to use that kind of a format. Now, if they use just like non-animation, since they're explicitly allowing fan art, that's their loophole.
Well, wouldn't fan art also be animation created by fans?
If they
I just
specifically
said fan art is excluded.
Yeah. Fan art meaning not animated art.
I mean, it's kind of creative. They're trying to keep one leg in good with the community. Like, hey, look, some of you guys can get on this if we contract you or whatever, but the rest of you, my bad.
Yeah, we hired all the best ones.
Yeah.
The rest of you suck. So
we hired the A team. We do not want the B team. Sorry, guys. I hate this because it's like, well, they're supporting creators. Yeah, but they left out the other 50% of them.
Here's another question. A lot of people talk about these fan animations as a form of free advertising for Games Workshop. These fans create these videos, these animations, and others that get shared around, and people get interested. They start looking into the Warhammer games and want to get into them because of fan-made products. So is Games Workshop kind of shooting themselves in the foot there by denying themselves a form of advertising?
Yeah.
Well, here's another thing. These fan animators are also sharing content, and
let's answer Ross's question first before we move to a different topic. Well, if you're not answering his question, and there are those of us who do want to answer his question, we could do that before we move to another topic.
You always.
Anyway,
does anyone have answer Ross's question?
I think it is, honestly, in more ways than one. That's why they always say, like, these indie devs, like, give YouTubers keys, give them keys to your game, give them access to those things. That's the best kind of advertising you can get. You have an instant community, and some of these people that, like, even just think about it, 1,000 subscribers, say someone has. They're seeing that, and it's resonating with them, obviously, because they're subscribed. You're taking this away from them, and you're going to potentially make some of these creators that have done nothing but fall on the sword for your products and love it to death, that you're going to end up making them resent you as a company. You're going to make, not only are you going to hurt your own free advertisement there, but you're going to lose business from the people that are supporting them as well. You're making enemies more than you are gaining them by that whole mentality. I'm saying if the product isn't I've always looked at it as this: if you're talking about something from the perspective that it doesn't hurt the product, and in fact, a lot of these channels that are passionate about it are selling it harder than they are. Games Workshop, apparently, because let's be honest, like, you have some of the most creative and passionate fans there, and I just feel like they're going to end up just stabbing themselves over and over again by doing this, and you're taking your most passionate people and dividing them by picking favorites is what you're doing.
See, there's this game that's kind of proliferated all across the internet for like the longest time and has spawned all kinds of memes and shit. What marketing existed for Undertale? Word of mouth.
Yeah.
The community
Undertale.
itself perpetuating Undertale's existence.
Night in the
Undertale,
Woods.
Minecraft, Five Nights at Freddy's.
Yeah, even Night in the Woods was like that too.
But here is the the back end of all this that everyone else seems to be ignoring. These content creators who are advertising for this are also making money from their advertisements by having YouTube channels, Twitch streams, and being able to pull money in by subscriptions.
You are correct.
And
Yeah,
add that revenue. And that's money not going into 40K. That's money going into these creators. So
However,
as a owner, they have a right to be concerned that people are making money and they're not getting a cut.
See, I don't
exactly
think so.
why.
I just like to respond to Justin's take on that. Obviously, I think it's stupid that we're even looking at that, oh my God, these YouTubers are getting paid. You're going to be paying into advertising anyways. Games Workshop is not paying these people directly. This is coming from their channels, their YouTube ad revenue and things like this. This isn't Games Workshop paying them. If they were the ones who were paying them, I say, you know what, you have full access to whatever they're doing, but you're not. And in fact, I think it's better for you because you're not paying for advertising.
You're right, but see, the thing of it is, they are getting ad revenue, and they're getting money from Patreons and money from subscribers, and that's going into the content creator's pocket, not 40K. They don't get a cut of it, and it's their content. These YouTubers and content creators are making money off of it in the long run.
Let's put a boot right now on this idea or this supposed idea that content creators are making tons of money off of.
They don't have to be tons. It can be. It doesn't have to be tons. No, they don't have to make tons of money.
But the point is how much is Games Workshop getting paid off, like getting their customers based off these YouTubers? We don't have a number for either of those because you don't know how many of those people were swayed on that. But what I'm saying is, how many of these YouTubers that are making lore videos and everything else and getting people that have never even heard of these products and they're going and buying them? They don't need to take an ad revenue share. We don't even need to look at that if they're giving them customers anyways via this way.
Well, there's
both ways.
There's a number of factors to weigh here, which one of them is, and Justin's right. I mean, it's not just a question of money in, money out. There's some basic principles that a lot of IP owners need to be aware of. There's like no formula, and unfortunately, as far as I've been able to read, there's no the idea that fan films, fan produced IP is free advertising. We don't know to what extent that's true. That's an assumption people leap to, and I have never seen any kind of hard data that supports that. So it's a question of extent. And I think that, and we saw this in the CBS lawsuit against Axonar, is that, CBS was perfectly fine with fans making fan films up to the point that these fan productions were starting to rake in money, like literally live off of their off of their IP, and in some ways trying to supplant their IP, claiming it was better, truer, more faithful, whatever. And and going on to, and if you foster that, and I'm saying this as a former fan filmmaker, if you foster that too much, you do have some brand recognition problems that you're going to run into. As long as fan films look and behave like fan films and don't bring in revenue, create revenue streams, they're probably safe. I think Games Workshop may be going too far. I don't know that particular world of fan films well enough to be able to comment on the specifics, but in general, these are the kinds of things that a company that's pondering making a rule like this, or pondering some kind of allowance for fan-produced content, have to take into account. Yes, they can end up looking bad in front of their fans for looking like they're coming down hard on other fans, and they have to weigh that against, are we opening the door to revenue that should belong to us going to other people, and will this grow? Do we need to put a stop to it, or create restrictions? This is not an utter ban on their part. It is just on animations, films. So they're obviously leaving some room for fan creativity based on their IP. But I don't think it's as simple as they're just providing free advertising, so why are they coming down on these people?
Well, my argument in response to that is, where I'm getting kind of frustrated when I see these situations is, if you're going to ban one, do it for all. Do not do this like pick and choose shit, because it makes it feel like you're creating an uneven platform. Because Nintendo does this all the time. They have their fan favorites, but you have creators that aren't even being monetized, and their videos are being taken down, non-offensive fan material content. And I feel like when you have this distribution, you need to go all in. And I know that that's going to sound like very authoritarian in the whole thing, but that's the truth of it. Either take it all down, or just allow it across the board. The thing is you can't. That's the problem with this system, is there's a pendulum both ways, that one side is going to be affected either way. But you can't also divide it like that, because then we get into these arguments about, well, what's being brought in, what's being pushed out, what is being diverted resource-wise. And I think with Games Workshop, they hardly ever advertise. That's the irony of it all, is you don't see a lot unless you're actively looking for it. And I think with them, it's such a stupid play, honestly. Like, you're good enough if we pay you to do it. But, there's little stipulations like art's allowed and this and that. Just basically the easy stuff to manage is what they're doing. Mm-hmm. We're going to take down what's easy to find, which is going to be YouTube videos and things like that. But we're not going to go through every piece of art. We're not going to go through all that. And I think it's just ridiculous that we have to have this argument, because it's like, yeah, but a lot of these people, we also take out the fact, are they doing it for the content, or are they doing it for the creator? Because these creators all bring personalities to the table that I consider transformative. When you go to watch a Twitch stream, you may not be into the friggin' game they're playing, but you may be into the personality. You may be going there for what that person's perspective is on it, and what they're saying, and how they deliver it. And that, to me, is still transformative. Even if you're reading off lore, if you're giving it a vibe, and you're doing voices, and you're acting these things out and all that, that's transformative still.
Well, while I agree with that, copyright law is a little more complicated than that.
Oh, absolutely.
Because transformativeness is only part of the calculation around whether or not infringement is happening. The other part is that courts presume that you are going to use the least possible amount of the IP in order for you to create your content. Right. So if you
which we actually saw a prime example of this earlier when we tried to stream the Dune trailer, even though we were technically commenting on the trailer as it was playing, YouTube still said nope.
Yeah, because the idea is, if we had done it for 10 seconds of of the trailer, probably it would have been fine. But if you're using the entirety of something, and in this case, in the examples that you're bringing up, they're using the game, like the entire game as it's being played by a person.
Oh,
and yes, the commentary makes a part of that transformative, but if they're using the entire game, the transformative nature of what they're doing exceeds what courts have found to be the amount of the IP that you should be allowed to use in order for you to create your content.
And that's what I'm saying. That's the whole perspective that I have with it, is that you need to do it across the board. If that's how you feel and you want to protect your property and you want to do it, because you can't have that argument. You can't have your cake and eat it too. You can't.
Actually, you can.
Because
in copyright law, you can. You can decide what you're going to go after and what you're not going to go after, and you're not beholden to. You're not creating a precedent that you have to apply to everyone else. They get to pick and choose.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying though. Like
not
that's
unless
not
it's
what
a trademark.
That's not what I'm arguing. Like that's the thing. Like the law is set, and that's what I'm saying. In the law, they are absolutely in their right to take down whatever is theirs. And that's what I'm saying. I do agree with you in that. The law clearly states it how it is. What I'm saying is, from a moral standpoint, though, like it's tacky how it's and let's just say, like, this is not just a failure on creators' parts. It's not just a failure on Games Workshop. This is just the obscurity of the law, because it's so vast and it's so open that it doesn't narrow the playing field for either side. I just think that when it comes down to this, you're not only hurting the creativity of people that are creating for you and marketing you, but you're also, I don't have a problem as much when they're monetizing things that are clearly like, all right, they just took the whole thing and just put it on their channel. I get that. But I will 100% stand by that. Creator personality does play a part. And then the other thing is, what about the ones that aren't monetized, that aren't making money, and you're still taking down their videos and you're still taking down their things and they're gaining nothing from it? There's no point.
YouTube is because we've discovered, especially with dealing with the whole action art thing, that YouTube is now monetizing videos, even though the content creator does not get a share. YouTube is. They'll put their own ads on videos, so even our videos have ads on them.
That's the thing to go after YouTube for, not the creators.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like,
that's why they have to have a broad board.
I don't want it to seem like I don't know the laws, because I do, because I'm very really, really invested in this on both sides. I always have been, since this argument has been taken off, since YouTube was since I've noticed it, since YouTube took off. That's really where I got into it. But I'm just one of those ones where it just, to me, it really does come down on platforms like YouTube and stuff, that they need to just be the mediator and say, hey, this is the freaking ground rules, and not be so loose about it on either side, like being so obscure with their rules, like this is allowed but this isn't, but then suddenly change it the next week. It seems like the playing field's always changed, and that's what I'm saying. These companies are fully in their right, because I see this, especially as a Nintendo fanboy, like they do this a lot, like for everything. It doesn't matter if you're monetized or not, they just don't care. But that's what I'm saying, at least you know what you're dealing with Nintendo, where it's like, it don't matter if you're monetized or not, like if you're using their stuff, they're going to take it down. This whole obscure, like, some of you are going to be taken down, but some of you aren't. You got to give more perspective on that. And I don't feel like looking at their rules like that's really clear at all.
All right, guys. This is a great conversation, great topic, but we are out of time.
Yes, Ross needs to get to bed.
And we still got What Are You Watching in Florida Man to get through. Let's end on a bit of a high note. Let's get out of the
especially if we're going to Florida, we're definitely going to get high.
And the moral low ground and the absolute terrible. And let's have a little fun to round out the night. So, what have we been watching this week? Son, let's lead with you.
So, again, this is a thing that keeps happening every week. The Friday show happens, and Saturday is what I've been watching. like the next day. Because this week I watched this cute little Netflix movie called America, the Motion Picture.
Oh God.
Holy shit. I don't think I've ever watched a movie, specifically an animated movie, that made me cry 1 minute and then, like, in the same minute had me in fucking stitches. And this movie did it. Yeah, I thought it was gonna be. I thought it was gonna be a lot more like America World Police, but no, it was pretty. It was pretty heavy-handed on both ends of being on like a political conversation. And yeah, no, there were some really heavy-hitting moments where I started to tear up, and I don't know. I guess that's the lady in me. And then, like, in the same fucking minute, they transition to like a whole different other joke, and I'm in stitches. I absolutely loved it, and it's gory and just utterly fucking ridiculous. But it's amazing. It's amazing. Go and watch it. If you haven't, go and watch it. It's better. It's better than whatever the hell that damn cat documentary thing is that Carlos refused to fucking watch for forever.
Actually, becoming Tiger King.
Tiger King?
Yeah.
Which they're making into a movie.
Yeah, it's
starring Nicolas Cage.
Oh, God help us all.
It's way better than whatever the hell that is.
No, just no.
So go and watch it, Carlos.
I will watch it. Actually, I like the trailer.
Oh God!
Oh right.
It's been out. It's been out for a while, and I just forgot to watch it, so I watched it this week.
Thank you, son. Greg, let's get some blood flowing to your brain. What you been watching this week? You've been glazed. You've been glazed over the last two topics.
He kind of went white.
That Tiger King was, oh my god, the movie. Anyway, so I'm still rewatching Walking Dead. I've actually gotten past where I stopped watching. When they killed Glenn, I stopped watching. So I'm about 5 seasons behind now. But watching I guess I'm on season 8 now. It's okay. It's good. I watched I watched Masters of the Universe. The first season dropped today.
Oh.
There is a 5-episode season. I don't know if it doesn't say part 1, so if season 1 is 5 episodes, I'm pretty sure the rest will drop either later this year or next. You can tell within 30 seconds of watching it, you can tell Kevin Smith wrote it. He wrote it, he produced it, but it is absolutely puntastic. It is amazing. It is funny. It is good. It is everything we hoped it would be. Mark Hamill as Skeletor, we're good. Tony Todd as in Hell. Tony Todd, outstanding. Honestly, the 5 episodes, they hit hard and they hit fast. So definitely give it a watch. But yeah, that's what I've been watching. And yeah, I'm looking forward to hopefully to drop that again, drop the rest here soon. But hopefully we'll see what happens. Like I said, I highly recommend it. If you guys haven't seen Gunpowder Milkshake, go watch it.
I have it on my to watch list actually. So
it's on my to watch list too.
Yeah, mine too.
All right, thank you, Greg. Travis and Lane. Disney Roulette this week?
We did do Disney Roulette. So this week on Disney Roulette, we pulled the second animated feature that Walt Disney ever made. We watched Pinocchio.
Good one, Justin.
Pinocchio has never really been one of my personal favorites too much. I just never really got super invested in the story, but that said, there are a few things that I personally take away from the film. This is actually a Disney movie that terrified me as a kid, particularly because I never liked Monstro's roars and sounds. He terrified me as a kid. but I also like the underwater lover in me has always absolutely loved the ocean sequence of that movie. It is just mesmerizing at times, and the fact that such a mesmerizing sequence came out of 1940, I think it was. I could be mistaken on the year there. It's like that animation has held up. And yeah, it does have some bizarre dated moments. And yeah, definitely you could tell it is very much a fairy tale, because one thing that has always confused me was why does one like I've always like this village is seemingly mesmerized by this little wooden boy that is alive and talking and walking without any strings, but they give a passing glance to two anthropomorphic walking animals, a big old fox and sidekick cat. Oh, we're normal. That wooden boy over there, however, throw a bunch of money at him. He's firewood. Straboon.
I was gonna say, is it politically correct to watch Pinocchio anymore?
I'm Stromboli. I am Italian with Russian accent.
So here's an interesting thing. You said this movie terrified you as a kid. I'm pretty sure this movie would terrify a whole bunch of dude bros now, especially about the whole becoming a furry thing.
No, that's not
All right. That's it. Have a good night,
how many?
Stay tuned. We've got furry news tonight in Florida, man.
How many dude bros go fuck furries, burn furries in fire, and you're like, yeah, you just wait until you literally turn into a fucking jackass.
If they lie.
For the soundboard. But yeah, like it's a charming movie. Not one of my personal favorites, but it's a good revisit now and then type of movie. So yeah, that's what we pulled, and hopefully we'll pull. Like the one thing I guess that really sucked is that one of my actual favorite Disney movie was almost picked. It was that or Pinocchio, and it got picked, and I was so angry. But yeah.
So what was it?
Right. Thank you, Travis.
Little Mermaid.
Better luck this week.
Better
luck this week. Raina.
The Orville, man. The Orville. I love it.
Hey, I'm not the one at the soundboard. Just saying.
So it was actually kind of funny because I actually texted Travis because I had watched The Next Generation, the first season. I was like, you know what? I've been away from it for a while, so I'll just watch the first season through. And I texted, I was like, I'm winded from just the first season. I'm winded. I need something else. And then I was like, I noticed you guys were talking about the Orville. And I'm like, you know what? Screw it. What's there to lose? And I watched like one episode, and before I knew it was freaking nighttime. I had watched like 2 seasons like straight through. And I was like, oh my God, I love this show. When's season 3? Where is season 3 at? I'm waiting for season 3.
At the end of 2023.
You know what? Seth MacFarlane, like, I am not a fan of Family Guy. I'm not a fan of American Dad, but I love A Million Ways to Die in the West. And this was Star Trek meets that. And I caught the Easter egg when he was in the holodeck type thing. I caught it. He was wearing the same outfit from that movie. And I was like, I caught it. And I love it. Like, that show is fantastic. I'm probably going to watch it a second time. I liked it so much.
You know who that was? Indy Cowboy outfit. I'm trying to remember. Crap. It'll come back to me in a minute. I have to go back and watch it now.
But like I said, like, that first, I know you were enjoying it when you first started the Next Generation, but yeah, those early seasons are definitely
Yeah,
rough.
like that's the thing is they're not bad, but like by the time like I had watched like the season 1 straight through, because I like was watching shows straight through this week. I watched season 1 of Next Generation. By the time I was like, holy hell, I need a break. Like,
Yeah, a whole bunch of people needed a break.
Yeah,
after all those-
A lot of people need a break after season 1.
Like Gates McFadden.
I will say that my 2 favorite episodes from season 1 of Next Generation, I can give you those right now, and I will say that it's Hide and Q and the Battle are my 2 favorite.
Pretty much, yeah.
Those are good.
My 2 favorite episodes of the first season by far.
All right. Thank you, Raina. Justin, what have you watched this week?
Well, not so much watch. Played. I have dove into the world of Star Citizen.
I'm so sorry.
Well, it was not really a friend of mine gets to be a chip that we could actually be able to, experience the game. So I went in. I was skeptical. It's actually pretty fun. Considering everything going on at Elite right now with all the drama happening over there, this was a pleasant surprise. Everyone says there's no content, you can't do nothing in game. It's a glorified ship simulator. No, there's missions. You can go. I was bounty hunting the other night, which was great fun. Also on my stream, Twitch TV, the separate. It was great. Had someone show me around different ships. It was actually a really good time. There's bugs. It's going to kick you out every once in a while. You might get thrown out of your ship whenever you go into hyperspace, which is always fun time because you're just floating in space trying to figure out what you're going to do, or get thrown in jail. And what happened to me after I crashed into the station. It's a work in progress, but if it ever gets done, it'll be great. Even if it's just, something small. The myth about you absolutely have to pay cash in order to get anywhere in this game is wrong. The only time you need to pay cash is to start. If you want to buy certain perks and whatnot, the option's there. If not, you can get using game cash, which you can easily earn on missions very quickly.
It's
likely dangerous.
I will say this about Justin playing. That one of the funniest things I saw this week, I watched Justin play, and one clip stands out. He goes, "Here, use the ramp to tip me over. Use the ramp." His buddy uses the ship, tips over, and I hear Justin goes, tips the take over, goes, "Ah!"
Yeah. We were. It was a C2 Hercules, which is one of the largest player flyable ships right now in game, and we were trying to take a ramp and ramp it into a ramp and use a tank and ramp the tank into the ship as the ship is flying towards the tank, and it was great fun. These flashes didn't work.
Thank you, Justin. Carlos, what did you watch this week?
So, nothing
Not
big.
bad,
I was catching up on a couple of Netflix series that I binged. The final season of Atypical, which I've enjoyed the first 2.
Match.
And then Never Have I Ever, which I think is hilarious. And the second season, still hilarious. That's made by Mindy Kaling, and she really well produced. It's funny as hell.
Well produced, like that thumbnail of the ripped shirtless guy that had nothing to do with your interests.
That's why.
And America's interest as well. But will tell you what I'm going to be watching this weekend at the movie theaters, since I've already finally made it to a movie theater, because I generally avoid M. Night Shyamalan's movies because they've been bad. But his most recent one, which just opened, I think today, is called Old, and it's supposed to be amazing. So I'm going to see it this weekend.
He's getting good reviews so far. So
How, amazing in what way? Like amazingly so bad it's good, or just
back to
really well done. Yeah, back to his roots. Really well done horror and drama. With some the basic premise is that these families go to this exotic resort, and they're pointed to this beach from which they can never escape or can't ever escape, and at the same time, they're like 2 of the sons who started out like 8 and 10, like age up really fast. and what the repercussions are from that, and for all of the other adults who are there. And it's supposedly there's some big twists. Of course, he's known for his twists, but also some of the horror surprises apparently are pretty original. And I was an early M. Night Shyamalan fan, felt like he lost his way for a really long time. If he is in fact back, I'm all for that.
What? No.
Look, I mean, the guy bought his own hype for probably 20 years. But if it humbled him enough to, rediscover what made him good in the first place, I think great. Go for it, man.
What a twist!
I was waiting for it to say.
So we're just describing the plot of Joe Dirt.
Yeah, I don't. I was never a fan of David Spade movies, so.
All right, thank you very much, Carlos. As for me, Greg, you'll be happy to know we are rewatching Lucifer.
Oh my God!
Yeah, but from the beginning.
Yep.
So you'll stop halfway through again?
Well, that's my wife. She goes to a comfort show. She rewatches it from the beginning, but that's okay. I am a colossal Trisha Helfer fan, so season 2 is my jam.
Okay. And season 3.
Season cameo in
yeah,
season 5.
She is one of the most beautiful people on the planet. I love everything she's been in, especially her role in Command and Conquer 3. That was perfection. And of course, Battlestar Galactica. And of course, we're still working our way through Manifest, and it is really, really,
my mom is
really good.
The show religiously. That's not a typical show.
Did you hear the bad news about Manifest? Netflix. No, Netflix will not pick it up. It's officially done. Like there was a rumor that Netflix would. Netflix has officially said they won't pick it up.
Oh.
Yeah. So the third season is
otherwise it's been Otherwise, it's been my usual round of YouTube channels. Lore. I just subscribed to a new one called How to Make Everything. This maker is going back in time, in a sense, and working his way up from Stone Age tools through bronze, iron, and so forth. The video I watched last was different kinds of Roman bricks, from peat to plaster to early concrete. And then he put them in a hydraulic press to see what kind of force it would take them to crumble. That's pretty much it. All right. That brings us to an end of the show.
Oh, can I make one pitch for something really quick? It will take 2 seconds, 3 seconds.
Sure.
If you all haven't been watching Superman and Lois, it is getting so good.
I need to watch this week.
Yeah, you need to watch this week's. It's actually they are making none of the mistakes that the other Arrowverse shows have made.
Speaking of mistake, did you see Flash?
No, I didn't.
They ripped off the Duel of fucking Fate.
They went off the rails for me a long time ago. So
yeah.
But
it's a shame. That's the show that got this podcast started.
I know.
It was Reverse Flash, and Godspeed using lightning sabers.
Oh, that's right, lightning sabers. Apparently that's from the comics, though. Oh, there you go. I know. I mean, I feel the same way, Ross.
I seen that and I immediately shut it off. I'm like, no.
One more thing about the Flash. Did you hear what their producer said? He goes, "I see this show going 5-6 more years." I'm like, "Oh my god!"
I don't know.
You poor man.
Thank God for Titans.
Yes, Titans. Looking forward to Titans to lift up the superhero genre this summer. But yeah, anyway, I just wanted to throw that out there. If you haven't been watching it, catch up. It's all on the CW app and really good.
Superman and Lois, yay. Everything else, boo.
That brings us to the end of this episode. Thank you guys so much for hanging out, for voicing your thoughts, your opinions, your hot takes, and everything else. It's been an absolute pleasure, even when we're talking about the absolutely terrible shit. So, as always, it is the highlight of my week, and thank each and every one of you. And of course, Thank each and every one of you out in the audience, be you on YouTube, Facebook, or Twitch, or wherever else you may be watching and or listening. Justin, I believe we're still branching out into new places, right?
Yes, I got it set up. Hopefully, we'll get it up there. I had to do a little more finicking on the back end because I had to find a place to get it all set in motion. So hopefully, this upcoming week, since I'm feeling better and able to, actually do stuff sitting up. But yeah, we'll hopefully have everything up and going this week. I hope. We'll see. We'll see if it
So,
pays off.
as always, wherever you're watching or listening, like, rate, subscribe, upvote, all of the engagement stuff, comments, share, whatever you do to engage with us. It helps out this podcast greatly to improve our reach and give us another reason to keep doing this. So if you want to keep hearing us, do the things, do all the things.
Do all the things.
And remember, we also have our own things outside this show. We have Roz at Live Love Play on Twitch. We have Carlos at Exy Monitor. We got Sun at Twitch. We have Greg wherever he hides on YouTube and Twitch. Raina on Twitch. And Travis, who just kind of floats around in between Ross.
He's on the Facebook.
He's the admin of the largest Star Trek fan page on Facebook.
That's right. Plus Lane.
Sitting on a cliff.
Travis is the new version of the Squire of Gothos.
Exactly. And of course, you can find me on Twitch TV, Commander Separate.
Thank you for all that, Justin. All right. Son, if you would please.
Remember, everyone, no matter where you are, no matter who you are loved and appreciated by just your being you.
Thank you,
and remember,
Justin.
And remember, spay and neuter your plushies.
Playing that.
That's not playing.
Thank you.
There it is.
Thank you, Keyboard Cat. Come on, right now, I want to see some shoulder movement.
Roll your shoulders right now.
I'm tired.
Cut it. All right. That concludes our regular show. Stay tuned for Florida Man, the wacky and weird news from Florida and beyond.
Bye, Raina. Bye, Travis. Bye, Greg.
Bye,
everyone.
I'm going to have to get out early, too, because I have an early morning meeting tomorrow.
But Carlos, you're going to miss Hellboy.
I'm going to stay for the furry story, but then I got to go.
He's going
to miss Hellboy.
If anyone has sing mode, if anyone has enough points for sing mode, now is the time.
Okay.
I'm out.
Okay.
Bye, guys.
I'm out of points.
Bye.
Oh.
Okay. Well, all right.
I only have 86.
All right, I'll use it. Damn.
Oh,
sing
shit.
mode is activated.
There we go.
Welcome, everybody. It is time for Florida Man. And to start us off tonight, I got a special story for all of you. The government of Australia unknowingly commissioned furry arts to promote the Tokyo Olympics.
Florida Man, maybe.
The department store of Woolworths and the federal government teamed up to release new sticker collections for kids just in time for the Tokyo Olympics. But they don't appear to realize that the new mascots are without a doubt furries.
Yep.
But first, hydration.
Damn it, Travis.
Hydrate. Do you have a copy of some of the artwork from that?
It's all in the article that's linked on Trello.
Well, let's see. I think I have a...
Available from Woolies, the anthropomorphic stickers put a new twist on the original Sydney 2000 Olympics mascots, Sid, Ollie, Millie, and Lizzie. In the 2021 design, the iconic Lizzie the Lizard and classic yellow boxing kangaroo are joined by a new red kangaroo. And while the art is undoubtedly impressive, there's no denying that Woolworths has created a new Olympic and Paralympic mascots that are most definitely furries, and Woolies and the government don't seem to quite realize that.
Well, I've got to say that is...
Justin, I sent a link with the artwork so you can.
Oh God, we're going to torture everybody with this.
If you've somehow been able to avoid this part of the internet, which I doubt, as it seems the government has, furries are people who have a keen interest in anthropomorphic animals that have human personalities and characteristics. Furries also often have a fursona, which is their personalized animal identity used when interacting with other members of the furry fandom.
I mean, I'm not denying anything. So.
Oh my.
And there they are.
Yay, Team Australia.
A fursona can be represented both online and through animal avatars, and offline with fursuit costumes and animal-like behaviors.
I love the word hirsute.
Wow. These collectible fursona stickers series was actually commissioned by the government and created by Landig, a 2D artist focused on comics who is based in South Australia. While Landig isn't exactly a furry artist, he told Junkie the collection was designed together with the Royal Australian Mint, RAM, which was looking for artists who could draw in anime style for the Tokyo Olympics coins.
I mean, that joke practically writes itself. Furries, Australia, RAM.
After hearing that RAM was interested in replicating art similar to what Tokyo used to promote the Olympics, iconic anime characters like Sailor Moon, Astro Boy, Naruto, and Goku, Landig submitted their photos and, to their surprise, was selected for the project despite not having any furry drawing experience.
Right now, furries everywhere are...
Furries are nothing new. Anthropomorphic mascots are certainly nothing new. I am a little perplexed that these are getting so bewildering to other people.
It's been rather interesting. The furry community's response to this has actually been rather not lewd. They've been really, really good about being not lewd around these characters, which has been fascinating.
I had no anthropomorphic art in my portfolio, so it was a bit of a surprise when it came out that what they were asking for, Landig told Junkie. I had been assuming they were looking for someone to draw a human since that's all I drew. So on some level, RAM were aware that anthro characters were a thing. Since there were some anthro pieces in the references they sent me, but I don't think they had any idea there was this sort of community and subculture surrounding it. And he continued. To be clear, they knew exactly what they wanted. We were working together to make sure they got what they envisioned. I tailored what they made to their examples and feedback. They just didn't know there was a word for it, basically, or that it would be so popular.
Actually, I think someone who did all of this did know what they were doing. They were just trying to play innocent. Because that's what it sounds like. It sounds like the government, it sounds like whoever was communicating knew exactly what they wanted out of these characters, were just playing dumb about not knowing about the furry community.
I mean, they're hoping that whoever was on the approval board didn't care.
This is the same story. This is the same story, like not exactly, but this is the same story going on in London with who thought it would be a good idea to commission a fucking dick and butt rainbow monkey to promote to children to read books.
To be clear, they knew exactly what they wanted.
Apparently,
and I
they
already
got
read
it.
that part. I knew immediately what kind of market there was for a campaign like this, though because I've been on the internet for longer than 15 minutes. Despite the Royal Australian Mint not being fully aware of how deep furry culture is, Landig was still nervous about disappointing the furries who would and did find out about their art. Luckily, the furries were impressed by the sketches and have gone out of their way to ensure Landig gets the recognition they deserve as the images circulate in the furry community.
Super deep into the community. Oh, yeah.
And that's the long and short of it.
That was quite a song.
This is what happens.
Not so much a song, just kind of recitative my way through, as I usually do with this sing mode thing.
Well, I mean, it's been way past 9 minutes now, so.
Yes, but I'm just having too much fun.
This is why we should always do
If you're
sing
having
mode.
if you're having this much fun, there was wine in that bottle.
Just one drop.
It's already gone.
I don't get a lot of opportunity to do it.
Well, here it was this week. Well,
Yep.
I gotta sign out, folks. I'm glad I got to hear more about the furries. I'm going to go to bed now.
I'm so upset. Carlos is gonna miss Hellboy.
I'm sorry.
And I've got to
we
go
got
to
anything,
2 a.m.
look-
and I need sleep.
Got anything big coming up news-wise this week, Carlos?
Probably. Probably. Stay tuned. axmonitor.com. All right. See you guys.
Bye, Carlos.
Bye.
Bye, Ross.
Good night.
Okay, well, if it's only just the two of us, I just say I'll say this one and then we'll go. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so Florida man designated Hellboy found in the wild. That's the headline. It's the headline on Florida Man Twitter. The headline for the article says extremely sunburned quote Hellboy goes viral in stingray video. Okay, so basically what it is this a video of someone trying to capture like a group of stingrays, right, off the coast of Florida, and just like in the shot is a dude who comes up out of the water, and the dude is red from head to fucking like torso because it looks like it honestly looks like he dipped himself in some kind of dye, honestly. But apparently he's so sunburnt that people just started calling him Hellboy and started sharing it everywhere. So Hellboy found in Florida. Hellboy, maybe Florida man.
Hellboy in Florida. There we go.
Mm-hmm. All right, everybody. Since it's just me and Justin, I don't think we're going to stay any longer for any more things for Florida man, which means next week is going to be amazing because there's a particular plane story this week that we'll be covering next week.
Yay.
So yeah, everybody, see you next week. Same bat time, same bat channel.
Same bat channel.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, man. You can always find me over on Twitch. I might go on for a little bit to see if anyone's up and about, but other than that, we'll see everybody next week.
Bye. Have fun storming the castle.
Woo.
Play a